The following program deals with a controversial
subject.
The theories expressed are not the only possible interpretation.
The viewer is invited to make a judgment based on all available information.
the top talents in the comic book business are
Definitely had episode 104 taken down last week due to sexual nudity and graphic sexual content. Yeah.
You dirty pervert,
I
Brian.
know.
Somebody had to do that because their AI wasn't catching that. It was no way. Somebody had to send that in.
Well,
and my guess is the son of a bitch whose website it was.
Well, I'll tell you what. I was very lucky because what YouTube does is they delete the episode immediately for certain things, and you can't get it back unless you record it or put it on another thing. And I didn't record that episode, and so I was like, "Oh, it's gone. It's gonna be the first Beyond Wednesdays show that's poofed forever." And about 2 days later, they sent me a thing saying, "Hey, you can review the stuff that we didn't like," and it gave me a video, and I said, "Thank you." So we will be putting that video back up. I put parental advisory things over the website information and all the nudity that they didn't like, and it's going to be going back up. So don't worry about that. Yeah.
Well done, sir. That had to be a lot of work, bro.
It was a pain in the neck. But you know what? It's nice to have everything there, right? I don't want to have episodes missing, which sucks. People go, "Why is there an episode missing?" And anyways.
Speaking about missing, we seem to be losing retailers here at the Pacific rate.
I know. Where's Dennis?
Dennis said he was on his way home. So.
Oh, okay.
Did I scare everybody away? What happened? I joined the show.
Well, Jesse said he needed a couple of weeks off, right?
Yeah.
He had stuff he was doing.
Yeah,
good for him. I'll just, if I could real quick, like anybody, guys, girls, especially dudes, it's okay to need to take a break. Like it's okay to say, "Hey, I'm working my ass off. I'm not feeling in the right place. I need to just step back." It's not a sign of weakness at all. It takes more strength to say that than it does to keep chugging along because you think it's the right thing to do and you're too proud to ask for help. And don't do it, man. Just if you need help, reach out to a friend, bow out. I mean, none of us are like, "Oh, Jesse's fucking weak. Screw that guy." No way. We're all like, "Bro, we support you. We love you. Need anything, let us know." Like, yeah, take a break, man, if you need to.
Yeah, totally. And he'll be back. So it looks like Dennis is dropping a bunch of pictures in the chat. So he's getting ready.
Yeah, he's getting ready. He said he's going to be on, but
okay.
Remember, he doesn't like to do it from the car because his phone doesn't disconnect from the car. He has all kinds of issues.
Yeah, Dennis reminds me of shout out to my boy John, Heroes Reborn. Dennis and John are kind of similar, where like I feel like I have to buy them and send them the right equipment to use. You know what I mean? Like, quit using that fucking iPhone to get on the show, John. Let's fucking send you an Android or a computer to get on with. And same with Dennis. Quit using that fucking headset that you use. I want to send you a real noise canceling headset, man. But that's just me being a pain in the ass about sound and quality and all that shit, which I like to do on this channel, but it is what it is. We have a lot to talk about tonight. We have MegaCon coming up in a few days, which is crazy. Damn, did that sneak up on us quick.
Yeah, man.
Holy shit. So we have that. Emmett's going to be the only one not there, which is a bummer.
Yeah. Sadly.
Yeah. So the rest of the Beyond Wednesdays crew is going to be there. Only Emmett and Stein won't be there. So everybody else, I believe, is going to be there, which is nice.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Fuck yeah. And then there's a lot of cool artists and creators that are going to be there. A lot of good friends that are going to get to hang out with, and that's my favorite part of the cons. But that being said, the biggest part of the con is for you guys, the retailers, to make a little money, and MegaCon is going to be. There's going to be a lot of money changing hands at that con. So.
There is. You know, the good and bad about MegaCon is everybody's there, which means there's a lot of competition for the few dollars everybody has, you know. So everybody wants that perfect storm. You want the hot artist with the hot cover, with the hot property at the convention, with the artist there. And if the stars align, you can have a great show. And sometimes if those stars aligned are not yours, you're sitting there at your booth going, I'm here too, guys. Hey, like I have a comics over here. Don't forget about me. And that's the worst feeling, man. You're happy for your friends, but at the same time, you're like,
Yeah, because
like,
there's a lot that goes into it. Not only money, man. It's so stressful. It's got
oh,
there's. I do little conventions and I'm completely stressed out before them, and I'm like, man, I don't know what if I did New York or any one of these big ones, what the
well,
stress would be like, and if it would even be worth it. I don't care how much money I made.
I mean, I got a 20 by 20 booth, and talk about stressful. It is.
That's a big
I have
booth.
two guests. I only have two guest artists this time. But coordinate, and I have two new comic book issues coming out. So coordinating the launches and the printing and the revealing. I barely got Don McTagg's Zombie Tramp revealed today, the up close variant. And there was a surprise Absolute Batman 19 dropped today. First Scarecrow cover. It's on the website if you want to pull it up. It's pretty cool. It's not my cover. I have 10% of it. Tons of these
Is it the
retailers.
one with him sewing his buttons in?
No,
eyes?
this one is a Bjorn Brendis one. It's really good.
What is this? Look at this one.
So that's the Zombie Tramp. It's going to be on sale tomorrow. That's Dawn's up close cover.
That's fucking beautiful.
But just coordinating all this stuff, like you get the art in, and then you got to decide what to do with the art, right? So how do I make this into a set that's going to be collectible? There's the
Barons. That's nice.
yeah.
Lots of these coming out. We'll talk about the Batman 19 releases in a bit.
Be ready.
Yeah.
It's like the Game of Thrones meme, or
it's going to be a big issue. 18 kind of didn't really, I don't know. No spoilers because it comes out tomorrow, but
yeah, look at that.
It ends on a bit of a cliffhanger. Yeah,
it does. It was my top. This is my number 2 book of the week, and Kyle's book of the week was Absolute Batman. This story just keeps getting better and better.
So what was your top book of the week?
Transformers.
Transformers.
Yeah, me too. Me too, bro.
That book.
Yeah.
Book. I mean,
I haven't got to that yet.
I'm not a fan of the Joker design for Absolute, but dude, Dave Wilkins is a fucking beast. He's
going to be at the show.
Is he?
He's going to be at Spencer's booth, Comic Kingdom Creative. He's only charging $5 a sig.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I need to grab a couple of these. Holy shit!
So Spencer will have these at his booth, Comic Kingdom Creative. I won't have them at the booth. I just pre-sale them. I can't sell them at the show.
Okay,
part of the deal. But he'll have them there with Dave.
Cover. Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah,
I like that ratio there, the 1 in 25.
Yeah, the Olivetti. Yeah, reminds me of Dark Knight Returns.
And have you seen all the Superman covers coming out? The Superman, Spider-Man. That's
I like the
I got a
Adam
percentage
Hughes
of
one
from
for Superman, Spider-Man.
616. So another cheap plug. I spent all day today. It took me almost an hour. I have all the Superman, Spider-Man, Marvel covers up now, and they're all 20% off on the website. If anybody wants, and you can use your Beyond 10 code and get 30% off.
Oh, there you go.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Look at that. I didn't mean to hijack the show, guys. Sorry, we're talking about MegaCon.
No, this is MegaCon stuff right here. So there you guys go. And we're gonna be talking more about the variants that are gonna be there. This week is crazy for Beyond Wednesdays because just like it is always before a major con, it's variant heavy. We talk about all the variants. Obviously, there's a ton of them coming. So we'll be talking about that all week. We have multiple variant drops on the channel this week for people that aren't going to be there at MegaCon. They'll be able to get some of these. You can get some now on the Comics Elite webpage. You can use that promo code Beyond 10. Is it Beyond 10, right? Beyond 10.
Yeah,
and
Beyond 10.
Yep. So make sure you guys utilize that, and you can find more information about that in the description below. But very big week in the variant game, and I don't know if you guys did. You guys get a chance to see Word Balloon, the new Word Balloon with Tom Brevoort, John Sunstress?
No.
It was very interesting because they talked very heavily about the variant game and how the variant game has changed comics, and Brevoort brought up how it was like the first time that the comics industry like really realized that the cover, changing the cover could be a big deal, was that Dale Keown Hulk 377 when they did the different neon colors behind it.
Colors.
He said when that happened, it changed everything. And he took a very interesting stance where he basically said it's a good thing. It's a really good thing. Like he said, and this is what I agree with too. There are some bad things that can happen. There's always bad apples, and there's always, people looking to scam when money's good. But for the most part, the variant game has brought more choice to the buyer. It's put more artists, money in more artists' pockets, and it's helped retailers immensely that are doing it right. It's also screwed a lot of retailers, as we've talked about on this channel before. As a matter of fact, Sean, you've deep dived into that and talked about your experience with the variant game and how that can, kind of avalanche into something more. But it's very interesting to see it now, because it feels like with Absolute, Batman 19, and Invincible, we could see that come back where there's going to be a lot of retailers that are going to get screwed. There's going to be a lot of retailers that do decent on it, but there's going to be a lot of retailers that get screwed thinking they're going to make a ton of money and not be able to sell books.
Yeah. If you don't have the right one, there's going to be so much choice, right?
We could do a whole show on this, man. I tell people all the time, if you can't sell 10% of somebody else's cover, you have no business trying to host your own cover, and then you're gonna allocate it out 10% to this guy, 20% to this guy, whatever percent to this guy. You have no business doing variants if you can't sell out of 10% of somebody else's exclusive. No business. And people think it's Field of Dreams, build it and they will come. I just got to get a hot cover and everybody's going to flock to my website or flock to my whatnot. And they're going to want to get it.
Maybe.
And it doesn't happen.
Yeah. It doesn't happen every time. And, by the time you hit one, the worst thing is to hit the first one, because then you'll spend the rest of your life chasing that and all your money and your whole business. But the other thing is, 4 or 5 in, and maybe the 6th one would be the best, but you run out of money. It's just a game, like you said. If you don't know how to do it, you shouldn't do it. If you can't do 10% of somebody else's, that's a great number.
Yeah, and people are like, "Oh man, I got oh my god, look at that number."
I just took the words right out your mouth. The Invincible effect adds 500,000 orders into Image Comics variants. So this is nuts. They're reprinting.
They're reprinting what?
So they're reprinting a couple Invincible books to do variants for them. They're reprinting the Invincible Returns, right? Is that what it is?
Yep.
One dropped today.
All those ones for Invincible, all those retail exclusives you see are for Invincible Returns.
Yeah.
Almost everyone.
So, and then they're doing all these variants where Invincible shows up on other covers, where we've seen, talked about multiple times, and other, publishers have done this. But the amount of new variants on the market or new books on the market just from Invincible variants is crazy.
The best sales I've had so far are Spawn, Exquisite Corpses. Like, obviously some of those are better than others.
Yeah.
This one's great. The Crisis is great.
Oh, the Finch is fantastic. Dork sold out of those day one.
I'll tell you what's my favorite. My favorite is the Hyde Street. I like that Hyde Street. Great. I like the Feral.
But by the way, I'm late because I was actually sitting in last week's chat because we have not deleted the old Industry of Comics one, and it had a link when I opened it up today. Delete the old one, Brian, please.
There's something. Is there something wrong with Dennis's mic?
Yeah, it's cutting in and out. It's choppy.
It's dropping in and out. Yeah.
You there, Dennis?
Check.
Now he can't hear us.
Yeah, right. Check.
He did something.
Yeah. I don't know. So yeah, tons of variants. I like most of them are really good. The worst one was
I don't like that one at the top left. I don't think that top left.
Some are just kind of boring. Like the seasons.
This one, boring.
That actually sold better than you think. That's a popular series. That's why.
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah. This one's interesting. The Rook Exodus. That's cool.
Yeah.
I love this one, man.
Look at that Finch. Look at that detail. I wish Finch would stop over-inking all this stuff.
There was a couple.
Oh,
really
I love
good,
that.
There was a couple really good variants too that I saw, retailer exclusive variants that were pretty interesting. But Jesus, the amount of variants that are going to hit the market over the next couple months or next month, right?
They've already all the stores have gotten their Invincibles already. So you're going to see Invincibles all over the place at MegaCon. All over the place. We're going to have 5 at our booth, God. I think.
Jesus.
We're going to have 5.
That's crazy.
I think did they do number 1? Is that dropping tomorrow? Number 1 in foil? Because I got them in my package.
Yeah, those are out this week.
This week, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this week.
I talked to quite a few retailers about the Invincible stuff when they first started talking about it, and it was very interesting. Some retailers were like, I'm going in all in, and some retailers are like, you know what? Because everybody else is going all in, I'm kind of gonna stay back. I'm gonna maybe stay back on this one. And it was very interesting. But man, some retailers I talked to some retailers that did 5 or 6 of them by themselves.
Yeah, I was a partner on 8 different ones.
Oh my God, dude! Wow.
Well, you know that they're going to be evergreen.
That's what a lot of people are saying.
You just pulled out how many boxes?
Yeah,
I know it's the original ones.
The, actual Invincible, though.
Yeah, but that's
they've
for
done this before.
People.
They've done this before, where they have one theme across every.
No, we're talking about the reprints too. They're reprinting Invincible Returns and Invincible #1. So not only are they doing that, there's probably 100 or more, maybe 100.
I just think when you start stretching out the return on investment across, a new cash grab versus the original. I
agree 100%. Sure.
Yeah. The original is always going to be worth more.
But
if they had taken the year to do all of this, then sure, let it go nice and long across the year.
Yeah.
I think they're super smart capitalizing it right when the video game's about to drop and the new series is coming out. The new series is more popular than ever.
Yeah.
Jesus, look at all these, man.
Yeah, there's Godtail. I got that
love
one.
This one right here. This one's really freaking good, dude. Look at this. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, who did that?
Marcos Mastraza.
Oh, Mastrazo, he's so good.
That's fantastic.
That's really nice.
I wonder whose store that is. Mayhew. There's so many good ones.
These are old.
Of course, Kirkham. There's a Shikari. That's the best for me. Is Shikari, of course.
There's more of them than this too, I believe.
Thora.
Lots. There's who is that?
Some new.
Is it Garuso?
No, it looks like a mix between Garuso and Scotty Young.
That's a big time for Nelson. Did that at Big Time Collectibles. I can't remember who the artist was.
Freely Abrigio. Freely Abrigio.
There you go.
Let's take a look. Oh, he's got some dork stuff coming out for MegaCon. See, that's what I mean. Like everywhere you look, how many dork variants are going to be at MegaCon? You know what I mean? A lot.
I don't think. I mean, there's gonna be a crap ton, obviously, of Invincible. I think less dork.
Yeah, definitely
Let's
less.
spread that butter as thin as possible across all of the different variants.
I'll tell you, the dork is still selling really hot. I mean, I bought a lot of second prints because I asked people, do you just want to read it? Because I'll get second prints if you just want to read it. And fuck, I bought 10 second prints and they're gone.
We sold out of number 2s, number 1s, number 1 second print, and I've ordered heavy on all of them. Yeah. You know, everybody has their own audience and market, you know, and
true.
If a store can do, you know, for example, I participated in probably 8 different variants, anywhere from 50% to 10% of those, and I made money in every one of them, you know. And if people are smart and they spread it out and the covers are enough, you know, again, there are some retailers that probably overstretched and they shouldn't have done them, and we'll see in not even in a couple of months when those invoices come due from Lunar.
All of a sudden, on these, were you able to pick your artist? Were these guys able to pick their artist?
Yeah, you just got to get them approved through Image.
Oh, but you could have picked your own artist. Just pick an artist and then take him to Image, and Image approves it. I think Sean's frozen.
There is no. Oh, is he? Yeah, he just froze up. Let me see here.
I mean, then at least you're betting on completely yourself, unlike Marvel, where you, oh, here's a list of artists, and if you want to do one and you get the last guy left.
Well, should we talk about that topic today?
Well, hold on. There's something I want to talk about. Talking about the hot books. Yeah. You back, Sean? Let me see here.
I think so. Let me just leave and come back.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because your camera still froze.
So there's one thing that I want to, I'm going to kick from studio and then bring him back. Okay. So one thing I do want to talk about is there was, you know, we talked about all these hot books and, you know, market manipulation and all that stuff, and whether it's market manipulation. And I think most of us thought it wasn't. We thought that this felt organic. And there is a book that we talked about on not on FOC, on Solicitation a few, maybe a month ago, maybe it was a month ago, that immediately when we saw it, we were like, holy shit, this is going to be a monster. And sure enough, here's another Image number 1 that's getting ready to be a monster. And that's this Tiger's Island book. Did you guys see this?
Yep.
Holy shit. Already pre-selling, already going crazy. And it was beyond, again, this is something that I don't want it to come off as bragging, but it's the truth. And when you talk and live comics and what people are into all day, or you're paying attention, you become dialed in. And this was such an easy pick that I hope there's retailers out there that went heavy on this. This is going to be
legs
huge.
are twice that third cover though. Her legs are twice the length of her torso.
Well, look at this one. Her tits are twice the size of her freaking whole body.
Yeah.
So it's a style choice. So
style.
Our hips are bent.
Yeah. I love dynamic. I love the weird art. I've always been into that. Ed McGuinness. I'm a huge Ed McGuinness fan. You know, like, of course, Liefeld. I'm okay with the weird stuff more than I'm okay with. I like the weird stuff more than I like the photorealistic stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I want the comic art to feel like comic art. I want it to feel weird and wacky, and you know. Batman, absolute Batman.
That writer's pretty, Patrick Kilden.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to remember, so he did, which sold well for me. I can't pronounce it. Gehenna.
Gehenna. Oh yeah, Gehenna, the
Gehenna.
Naked Aggression. Gehenna, Naked Aggression.
I think he did that one. He did Frontiersman. Like he's a good writer. He hasn't had a really big hit yet. This could be it. I mean, I know there's a lot of stuff behind it.
Man, I'll tell you what, and I'm not trashing on this writer because I haven't read his stuff, but I have long boxes of books from creators that blew up and were hot. I mean, remember Donnie Cates?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
what's
we all got
any of his stuff? Baby Teeth doesn't go for shit. Rednecks, nothing.
Yeah. I got all that stuff too. We got tons of that. I mean, all retailers kind of do.
but
you know?
You just have to be cautious is all I'm saying, Brian. You can't just go all in on
Trust
the hotness.
me, I get that. But also at some point, and this is me thinking even about myself, right? This is like at some point, I can't be negative about everything. And I have to look at it like, okay, is this going to help retailers right now? Selling the book right now, a hot book is going to help retailers. Yeah, it might not be the next Walking Dead or Saga or, Invincible. It might not be that in 5 years, but is it going to be a fun thing for people to read and collect? And even more for this show, is it going to make money for retailers?
Yeah, I think if you went heavy enough, it depends on your shop, right? What you consider heavy. For me, 10 copies is heavy. If I don't have any subscribers and I bet on 10 books.
Well, but Brian, you're already saying, what was the Tigress thing?
Tigress
it's already out of the gate before release date, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That means an average fan who just wants to read and collect it is going to pay 5x cover.
Only, not true. Emmett, if an average fan walks into your comic shop, how much are they going to pay for it?
They're paying the cover price.
They're going to order cover price. Sean, are you going to sell it for cover price?
Hell no.
Okay.
There you go.
Hey, I don't blame you. Yeah.
I mean, look. So here's what we did with that book. So, I ordered about 30 copies of each one, and when we started selling them on Friday, they were going for about $15 for cover A. We were selling them for 10. I was like, look, it's $5 cover price. They're going for 15. I'll sell them for 10. And it was one per person. And then the blind bag or the black bag variant was going for I guess it's still kind of around the same.
Yeah.
They were hitting 20 for a minute there.
That black bag variant's cool. This one.
We're higher. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
They're
20
coming
bucks
down now.
almost.
People seem to be getting them. But yeah, we just if a book's super hot. Now this is different. If somebody physically walks in and they're a good customer and I know them and I have some, I'll be like, yeah, man, you buy from me all the time. Here's one for cover price, of course. But rando off the street, hell no. I'm not giving you the hottest book.
Well, again, like Emmett said, it's different for different retailers. And that's the whole point.
I've scared all those guys off.
Yeah. But again, I think that this resurgence in Image #1's excitement is good for the industry. It's a good thing. Can it turn into a bad thing? Most definitely, it could turn into a bad thing. You got to be, the industry has got to be careful. They can't just put, garbage
really,
out there.
If you want to read it, okay, maybe you got to wait for the second print to come out because if the #1 blew up and it was under order and it's a hot thing, how many guys read
this was under ordered.
And the second print, is a fucking banger of a cover too. That's fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Pretty good
silhouettes on the bottom.
I mean, I honestly, I didn't care for the story that much.
I haven't read it yet, but I did read the other hot ones. In my opinion, Dork was good. White Sky was White Sky was, it was a #1 issue, but it's got some legs.
Dude, Dork #2 was really, really good. It was in me and Kyle's, both of our top 10s. Fresh ideas. The center of the story was a chicken, and it was awesome. It was hilarious.
So funny.
Great story. So
yeah, the guy writes comedy really well. It's hard to make people laugh on a page.
But
that's why there isn't more funny books.
Here's something interesting though, and we were talking about variants. That's how we got here, and we have all this huge amount of variants that are going to be flooding the market over the next couple months with Absolute Batman, Invincible, cons. The Tom Brevhort word balloon episode was very interesting, him talking about variants. And then I saw this. Restaurant exclusive editions of Marvel Comics, Meals to Astonish #1. Marvel is releasing these special chef-inspired variants to restaurants, certain, like, I guess, 5-star Michelin restaurants.
It's coming out tomorrow.
Yeah, and there's a bunch of them that they're going to be giving, I guess, to these. The first one is to this Jose Andres in New York.
It's the guy who runs the World Kitchen.
Mercado Little Spain is the name of the place, I guess, where it's going to be releasing. But they're going to start doing this now too, which I don't know what to think about this. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts as retailers? Are you good with these showing up at non-comic shops? Because I think that is the problem that people are kind of having with this, is that they're not in Lunar, they're not available to comic shops.
I have them. It's a different cover, but I have them.
I'm talking the variants, I mean.
The variant covers, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see a problem with it, because this is a special thing for a special audience.
Yeah.
Getting comic books in the hands of people who don't go to a comic book store.
Amen.
That's what this is.
Amen.
And face it, right now, have you seen the videos of the One Piece cards outside of college football or basketball games?
No, that's great.
Are you talking about the promos?
Well, they're giving a promo away at college basketball games, and every single person is standing out in front. I'll give you $100 for it. I'll give you $100 for it. And it's thousands of people are offering $100 for this card that they're getting for free outside of the basketball games. That's fine. I sell One Piece cards. It doesn't bother me one bit that college basketball is getting a promo and, scalpers are out trying to buy them. Hopefully some comic collector sitting out in front of Little Spain trying to buy comics from people who had a good meal.
Cover.
I think it's great, as long as we had an opportunity to buy.
That's the cover I have.
Yeah, we could buy covers. They gave us Peach. That first cover. Who's that? Mignola. Looks like
Mignola.
Yeah,
that's the one I picked.
But I mean, this isn't my no pun intended.
Oh my God, CB actually allowed them to draw him that horribly? Holy shit. CB, get some editorial control, editor-in-chief.
Tell your artist you went on a diet.
I think it's great to have this out there for anything to get people reading comics.
Yeah.
Get people excited about comics. Go for it. We all had variants we could order. It's fine. I had trouble selling the very, very few copies I bought of this.
It's not a great book.
It's not.
Sadly.
It's not.
It's a gimmick. And I don't know who they had write it, but I don't know if they worked really hard on it.
But a version was offered to retail.
Yep.
A version was offered to the store that it was, inspired by. It kind of breaks that fourth wall by putting Peter Parker and CB Cebulski in a restaurant, no problem with it whatsoever.
It is his first appearance in books, right?
No, I don't think so.
No, Cebulski's in it before.
Oh, I'm sure
he's been in it.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Talk about an ego.
Dan Slott got on the cover of one of those Spider-Man store variants. Yeah.
Number 1, yeah.
Did you guys see this as well? The new Stan Lee book that's coming out from that guy who made that one book, Stan Lee Lied. I don't know if you guys remember that. Chaz Gower. He made a book back in the day called Stan Lee Lied, where it's about all the origins of all the superheroes that Stan Lee, quote unquote, takes credit for that he disproved. Well, he's got a new book coming out called Ditko and Romita versus Lee, The Origins of Spider-Man. That's causing quite a bit of ruckus around the, old school world, as it always does. Anytime, you bring up the whole Stan Lee, stealing credit thing, It always causes a lot of talk, but we got a new book coming out about it, which is very interesting. And
we're not allowed to have heroes anymore.
Exactly. Right. And
as soon
a
as
lot
they
of these
die,
guys are
people
dead
shit
too.
all over them.
Yeah, that's what I was good. Exactly the whole point I'm bringing up. These guys pass away, and then it's like, okay, the floodgates are out. Let's fucking put all their fucking shit out there.
And he can't defend himself.
Yeah.
And regardless if he didn't or not, he was the P.T. Barnum that went out and got Marvel to blow up like it did.
DC never had a Stan Lee, and that's why Marvel a smaller publisher with less footprint dominated DC for 20 or 30 years after Stan took the helm.
Yeah.
Hate him if you want, but he served a different purpose. He did every college campus tour. You look at all of those talk shows that he went on, the Mike Douglas show.
Yep.
Pavitt, what's his name? Alan Thicke. You know, all of those shows. Stan was there being that dork talking about
Johnny Carson.
Yep.
Johnny Carson. He was on Carson.
Yeah. So, you know, punch at him all you want, poke at him all you want. He did what he wanted to do, and he was the most successful at doing it. And the reason you know he's successful is because everybody for the last, what are we now, 7 years since he's passed away?
Have to make money on his name.
Everybody says, but who's the next Stan Lee?
Yeah.
They don't say who's the next Ditko, who's the next Romita, who's the next Stan Lee.
Amen.
Yeah, yep. I don't think we'll ever have another one.
No.
Well, we have one that's close, but they don't. But the industry
Liefeld.
Doesn't like him, and that's the problem.
Liefeld is the closest.
Yeah, the industry hates him though, so they're not going to allow him to be their ambassador.
No, he's in good company because everybody hated Stan when they left Marvel.
I would argue Liefeld and say maybe Kirkham would be the closest.
Kirkham
next
is the next closest.
Like,
I agree with
more
Kirkham.
than
Kirkman. Or
yeah,
Kirkham?
Robert Kirkman. Sorry, Kirkman.
Robert Kirkman. I will give you that Kirkman is absolutely capable of doing it, but he doesn't want to do
Not
it.
interested. Yeah.
So, you know, he wants to spend time with his family. He does the little bit that he has to promote the things that he wants to promote. Todd is great, but Todd also has that double-edged sword that Rob has. I just think Stan was just this unifying thing that the comic industry needed when it needed it, and nobody is capable of just picking that up and just doing it.
Yeah.
I think people have tried, but without the reach or the support of, you know, a big two.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
Remember when they tried to send Quesada on Colbert and do a whole bunch of stuff with Quesada and Colbert?
Oh, I missed that. I'll have to look for
it. He gave him the shield and said, "You're next after Captain America died."
Oh,
stupid.
That was terrible.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It just fell flat because Quesada, as much as I love Joe, Quesada is not Stan Lee. Period.
No, I liked what they were doing when Quesada was running the show. I thought they produced a lot of really good books. But you know, it's the big corporations. The thing is that, hey, when Paramount gets Warner Brothers and they're doing DC, then will we see them on late night on Paramount shows?
Here's the problem with all of it, and you're in
or NBC.
Deadly hit this on the head. They're not TV personalities. And if you're not a charismatic person or okay with having a conversation and being likable, you should not be a talking head anywhere. You should not be a talking head on a freaking YouTube channel, yet alone going on late night with freaking Johnny Carson or Stephen Colbert or any of those guys.
With all due respect, even with Comic Tom couldn't become Stan Lee. Even if they pushed him out there and said, this is the face of comic books, Tom couldn't pull it off.
I just don't think it's possible in today's day and age. We don't need, there's not a void to be filled. There's not, that opportunity doesn't exist anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
I think there is a void to be. I think there's a big void for an ambassador. Yeah, we need an ambassador.
If you remember, they did try it with Kevin Smith right before the DCEU came out, they did a 1-hour special of Kevin Smith and Jeff Johns talking about all of the new movies that were coming out. And I'll sum it up with one of my favorite impersonations. Aquaman's coming out. Aquaman is king of the sea, and the earth is 3/4 covered in water. How awesome is this going to be? And it was just like that times an hour. And we all laughed at it in the store. And DC was sending out those clippets for us to play in our store when they had this whole like digital media push for stores at DC Comics. It fell flat with the fans, and they never tried it again.
I mean, you can have anybody that does have that kind of personality. They're in movies. It seems like they're making movies. You know, James Gunn, perfect example. That dude has a personality. He's a salesman. He's passionate about comics. He's a nerd. He's running the DC Marvel or movie universe, like it or not. So when I say like there's not a need, what I mean more like what Stan did as far as like making all these new characters, filling a void that was not there. Dominic Glover, what up, Dominic?
Shout out to Dominic. He says
from Bobby Lee, Post Malone, and others.
Question for Sean. I've been seeing Facebook, Instagram ads for comics from Bobby Lee, Post Malone, and others. When do ads become viable for comics or trades where CPC still leaves healthy margins? What does that mean, CPC?
Bro, Dominic, I love you, brother. Shoot me that, guys. If you're not following Dominic Glover, follow him. Great artist, fantastic guy, great dude. Bro, that's a 30-minute talk talking about cost per clicks and marketing and ads and how you're using the ads and your audience that you have, and are you using lookalikes, and are you making your own audience? Who do you have already? Where's your pixel linked? Is your pixel linked to your Facebook? Are you, oh my God, bro, I could go on and on and on. That's a very complex question.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting that there's a lot of names that are, and we kind of talked about this, I forget which show it was, but where comics has something that it's missing that trading cards and sports cards has right now that sells a lot of product for them. And that is the people who are involved and famous people also are into collecting. And what I mean by that is you've got all the, Dana White is into card collecting now and always talking about it. You've got baseball players who are into Pokemon that are always talking about collecting. Like there's baseball players that will trade autographed cards of theirs for Pokemon cards from fans, and like this is the thing that's really helped pushing collecting cards to a new, younger audience. Comics doesn't really have that, where you have a lot of famous people who are into comics and talking about comics. Now, there's been a little push. You're right on that, Dominic. There's been a little push that I've been seeing lately. I've seen the Method Man one. I've seen the Del the Funky Homo Sapien one, where they're not just talking about comics, they're talking about it like they know it. Like Del was, or not Del the Funky Homo Sapien. Del was is it Deltron? I think he goes by, but he was talking about the Black Suit Spider-Man storyline, and you could tell he had read Secret Wars, Amazing Spider-Man, all that whole entire era of Marvel. He read and he knew it line for line, page for page, and you could tell. And that's the thing. When you have these famous people or anybody, you can tell when they're talking about something they're really into. And that is something that comics needs.
I'll counter that, Brian.
Yeah.
But we had that. Nicolas Cage. How'd you get your name?
You didn't have it enough.
Oh, I was nah. Hold on. Let me finish. He got his name from Luke Cage because he didn't want to be Nicholas Coppola in Hollywood. He was constantly talking about comic books. He owned the most famous copy of Action Comics #1. Went through an entire arc with that. He played Ghost Rider twice.
Almost played Superman.
I forgot about that for a second.
I don't think he talked about it enough, though.
Oh my God.
I think when he was talking about comics were still kind of that weird thing that people didn't want to be associated with. You know what I mean?
Right. But the thing is he wasn't scared to talk about comics and his love for comic books at a point when nobody else was. Now, these guys are talking about comics when they have something to talk about and promote.
Yeah,
I see there's a big difference.
This is the interview I was talking about. Watch him talk about this, and you could tell he's into it.
Group called Black Flag, that's their logo. They're a punk rock band, you know what I'm saying? From like maybe early 80s, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm just your tattoo on your this one. That's Spider-Man. This is Spider-Man when he went to if anybody up on Secret Wars when they took all the heroes and all the villains. I'm talking about the Beyonder took everybody and put them on a planet that he created. On that planet, Spider-Man came into contact with the symbiote, but at that time you didn't know it was a symbiote or whatever. But like it jumped on him and became the black Spider-Man suit. And that was his new fit. And like, he didn't have to change his webbing, you know what I'm saying? He didn't have to have web cartridges. It just magically come from him, you know what I'm saying? From the suit. But later on, Reed Richards from the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man found out that the suit was eating him. He found out it was symbiote, so it's eating his energy. So he went to Reed Richards, the smartest man on Earth, and Reed Richards created some kind of like concussive like cannon or something and blasted the suit off of him. Then the suit ran away and later on ended up on Eddie Brock, and then that's when you start knowing Venom.
Now that's what I'm talking about. That dude, you could tell that dude knows this shit.
Read it all.
All right?
Hell yeah.
That's it. We should make him the entire spokesman for comic books. There you go. Fuck
down.
Fuck Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. Let's do it. Fucking A.
I mean, there's so many
Method Man
guys,
reads a lot too.
Yes, he
you
does.
know, it just takes, you know, if Nicolas Cage had a comic store and maybe went to cons and did variants,
Well,
like there's been lots of celebrities showed up at I remember in New York who was John Leguizamo had a comic and he was in Artist Alley.
yeah, but
for
fuck
1
John
year.
Leguizamo. He tore up an Amazing Fantasy 15 to wallpaper his fucking bathroom.
What?
You've
It's
never
his
heard that
copy.
story?
No, but
It's his
hey,
copy.
we
You
can't
want
say
to,
that
yeah.
you buy the comic, you can do what you want with it after it and then still complain
Yeah,
about
but that's
that.
taking a treasure out of the.
And
But I
there's
will
Put
a-
it
say
in
this.
your
I just want to
shitter.
throw one more, and it's not just bullshit. One day I got an order on Amazon, and guess what? It was Nicolas Cage, and he was buying an Ultimate Hulk Marvel Select figure for his son, paid $100 to have it next day aired. And yeah, I have Nicolas Cage's home address and phone number, but I haven't used it.
Weird.
he's bought from my website too.
Yeah.
I was like, is that
So
really-
I think he's just legit. He's a legit comic fan. He doesn't have to go out and talk about it all the time. I think he's been a legit comic fan for 60 years, and I will always give him props.
This is a great comment from Cicada. I thought Post Malone was going to be a huge ambassador, but then Vault crapped the bed with those mystery boxes and deflated the entire initiative. And ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our next topic. The big Energon Universe first appearance is mask number 1, blind bags. We got more blind bags
What?
coming.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Mask is not worthy of a blind bag.
I got to be honest here, and I'm going to take a little heat for this, I think, and I understand why. I think blind bags are kind of dying, man. I think they're dying.
Well, so I guess so when we go to MegaCon, we'll kind of show because
Yeah.
I know of a huge Exquisite Corpse blind bag. Leg has his blind bag, right? For Sick Tick. Big Time Collectibles has a huge blind
Clutch
bag
has,
for the
yeah.
Crow. There's a lot of blind bags
And also, we have
MegaCon.
to remember we don't call them blind bags; we call them Atom bags.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I think this is the truth that blind bags, I think what happened is that blind bags could have been something amazing, but there was a lot of really mediocre ones put out.
Yep.
Yeah, there were some mediocre ones put out, and then there were just a couple fumbles with it. And I mean, it's just like anything. Retailers opening them early, and then Marvel with all the damages, and then honestly, I'll say it, Nikki doing a blind bag for every single thing that exists, and then, in my opinion, being very meh,
Yeah, I
like
agree.
blind bags.
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, I don't think they're dead. I just feel like but then look at Mark Spears. He probably had the most between Battle Beast and Mark Spears. I guess you could define what success is, having it done. The most successful blind bags ever done. Or maybe until next year when he does them.
Yeah.
You know, we'll wait to see when the Daredevil ones come out, if they ever come out. I thought they'd be out by now. But
Didn't Image do a blind bag like
Battle Beast was, I think,
no, way before that.
They've done multiple ones. Walking Dead, 15th anniversary.
Yeah, 15th anniversary. But they did one where they had artists doing sketches in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
DC did one too.
DC did that twice. Marvel did it for the Death of Johnny Storm.
Harley Quinn's Little Black Book. DC did it. There were sketches in there too. Those were fun. I mean, but it didn't blow up because it was a different time. There wasn't
right
whatnot streamers and that kind of stuff.
Did you guys see the Daredevil blind bags by any chance yet? Have you seen what they
the irony of that phrase?
I have not.
Okay.
Did you see the Daredevil blind bag? There's so many so many contras in there.
So the thing that's interesting about them is I'm trying to find the video, but I saw a video of some retailers opening them. They must have got some early just to like do some type of promo with them, and they opened them, and the bag that they were made out of seemed like they were very easy to rip. They were rippable, and what I mean by that is you didn't have to cut them with a scissors because you're worried you're going to put spine ticks in the thing. They were like foil, but very thin foil that could easily be torn and removed from the comic.
That means they're going to be ripped and shipped.
Not resealed. They don't look like they'd be resealed because when you tear them, they tear very easily, almost like a card
Ultimate
pack.
ones were like that though. It was almost like a cellophane feel to it.
Yes.
The Ultimate Endgame ones were like that. They were so easy to open.
I didn't know that.
So
okay.
easy to open.
Okay.
I opened a lot of them.
It'll be interesting. Did the Ultimate Endgame ones have the extra board in there for support as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to figure something out with those, man. Hopefully that blind bags aren't dead, but they're on life support right now. I think. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna. I mean, I think if Marvel wouldn't have had the damages, it would have been good, except for the fact that all the open order variants were in there. Like they need more exclusivity in there.
If there hadn't have been variants, if there wasn't variants, and then you did a blind bag, and the only way you could get a variant was in a blind bag.
Well, this has got something interesting for it, and I'll give Image some credit on this one. For blind bags, you have to have something special on it, right? And that can mean a couple of things. That can mean you do something cool like the golden tickets, like Mark did. With the Wonka tickets, you do something cool like original art, like multiple ones have done it. You do cool things like old buybacks. Like I'll give Dynamite credit with those first Vampirella blind bag Kickstarters. They did put a redemption in there for a Vampirella #1, which was cool. Those are the cool things. But here's something interesting that Image there's rumors of that a first appearance of a major character in the Energon universe is going to be in these blind bags, and there's rumors that could be Snake Eyes or Grimlock, and if that happens and it's some type of special variant that you get with them on the cover that you can only get in the blind bags, that could be a game changer.
First cover appearance of that character in the Energon universe, put some hype behind it, appeal to the spec market. That's the key.
Yes.
That's the key.
I just don't think Mask has the cat. I mean, guys.
Well, they're not Mask characters. That's why. That's why I think.
No, I understand. But what I'm saying is I've been selling Mask for 30 years as a collectibles dealer.
Yep.
I bought heavy on the IDW Mask when it tied in First Strike, all that stuff. when the Hasbro universe was forming. I've bought the 25th anniversary mask figures. There's just such a niche market for masks that I just don't think it translates.
I
It's
agree.
so niche.
There is a small market, but here's what I will say also. If anybody can do it, it's fucking Kirkman.
Oh,
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
absolutely.
Look what he did with
and
Transformers and G.I. Joe.
Yeah. It's Saving Grace. Maybe it's part of the Energon universe.
Yes, that's it. If it's part of the
That's
Energon
intriguing.
universe, that could be the saving grace. Yeah.
And there might be a new group of people that think they are cool.
Well, there is a Mark Spears cover that's included in this, so which is going to be cool. Shout out
Is
to
that
Mark.
Brad Turner or is that Sly?
Sly.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think they could have killed it if they had gotten Foose to do a car cover.
Chip Foose.
Yeah, sidecut. You ever see his car art?
No, but
man.
I met Chip Foose at a my buddy lived in Dublin, California, and there's a famous motorcycle creator out there, and we went to his warehouse store, and Chip Foose just happened to be there, and I met Chip Foose there. It was very interesting. Yeah,
Fucking lucky you. Super talented dude, man.
So
I wish Grace American Hero was part of the Energon universe. That'd be cool. Sorry, go ahead, Brian.
Hey, just a stupid question. Does anybody know why Cat was at Comics Pro? Are they making a new comic book?
The comics coming back out.
Okay.
It's coming out. Yeah.
Is it the same one that they released the first time, or is it
different?
There was another Great American Hero comic.
Yeah, a new one.
Yeah, it was by a super indie company, and I can't remember which one it was.
This one is also super indie.
I think this one is the same guys that did Neverland. I think it's AWA maybe or AMA, whatever. I can't remember. I guess I have a computer.
And once again, it's so super niche, and it doesn't hold up to time. When you go watch those TV shows, man, they were bad. And I loved them as a kid.
But the people that weren't really comic book people who were into the show.
Yeah, but I think there's so few of them that I just don't think it, it's another one of those just super niche markets that's like, hey, good for you, William Cat. I loved House.
AMP is publishing Grace American Hero.
Who published the first one? Can you see? I want to say it was around 2007, 2008.
Catastrophic Comics.
Okay. Yeah.
Arcana.
They made some really great books.
Arcana.
They did, but
yeah, man. I don't know why I couldn't keep them in the.
They didn't sell enough.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
They didn't get likeness rights. These guys got likeness rights.
That's interesting.
AMP did. Looks just like him. Anyway.
There is okay. Let's get into one of our main topics tonight, and that's a big one. Mike Richardson fired by Dark Horse after founding it during its 40-year anniversary. Kind of interesting. Now, what's interesting about this is it feels a little clickbaitish when you kind of look into the story, but you could also look at it and go, okay, there's a couple aspects to look at here. One, Mike has been kind of stepping down from Dark Horse for many years now, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
right?
He's 75 years old.
Yeah, 75 years old. But the weird thing to me is that if you have somebody that's kind of quietly trying to step away from the industry or step away from the company he's founded, you don't come out with press releases saying that you fired him. Right? So basically, let me run this down. Mike Richardson, founder of Dark Horse, has been fired by the new owners, Embracer, after 40 years at the helm. Jay Comas, with experience from Middle-earth Enterprises and gaming giants, steps in as interim CEO. Industry sources confirm that this move reflects a shift to focus on multimedia IP and product-driven strategies, and Richardson's departure marks the end of an era defined by the creator-owned titles and acclaimed comic adaptations.
So I watched a great YouTuber today, and I want to give him a shout out. So give me 1 second while I figure out what his name was. But he did a full breakdown on this company, Embracer. It was founded by a 15-year-old comic artist from Sweden or somewhere over there.
The one who bought it? The one who bought it?
He bought the original company, and then they bought a bunch of stuff, and then they bought a bunch of stuff. And when Mike was starting to figure out his exit strategy, they made an offer, and Dark Horse sold to a conglomerate that was part of their conglomerate.
The gaming company, Embracer.
Yes.
Yeah.
They thought they were going to do a whole bunch of stuff, and somewhere around 21 or 22, they started axing, and they weren't getting any money, and they all the money people that were funding them to do all these acquisitions basically said their stock was junk, so they had to start cutting dead wood to make themselves look more profitable. And we talked about it, I think, last year. And remember, Jesse and I were talking about it, that Things from Another World ceased their online operation. Do you remember this, guys?
Mm-hmm.
I remember.
This was, I think, early stages of that. Why are we still running this online operation out of Portland or wherever, Seattle or Portland? I can't remember where. Portland. And I think this was just kind of part of this continuing, like, why are we paying this guy X amount of dollars to be the figurehead of this company? But this YouTuber broke down, and if anybody knows who I'm talking about.
Matts. He's probably one of the biggest comic book YouTubers on the
Did you watch that video he made?
Yeah.
It was brilliant because he literally spelled out all the IP that Dark Horse turned into actual physical things and the whole time he's reading off that list, all I could think is every publisher's wet dream is to have even half of this list. And Mike Richardson and Dark Horse made all of it happen. And they did it slow and allowed it to naturally build instead of pushing everything into it. They loved the Hollywood movie check, but they didn't make it their only quest in the industry. And that's what I took away from that. And I've known Mike for a long time. You let a fucking tiger, a giant like Mike Richardson, you let him go out the way he wants to go out, or you give him the option to retire. Well,
the problem is that Embracer is like one of those groups that we've talked about pretty heavily ever since we started talking about the Diamond bankruptcy stuff with Alliance Entertainment. They're one of these groups that comes in and just buys companies and just sells off everything.
They raise a lot of money when they're doing an acquisition, and that's how they survive. And when they can't find anybody to buy or they can't raise any more money, I think Dark Horse in 2010, around that time period, guys were leaving for Image for a much better deal and to own all their own rights. So I think that the contracts changed over at Dark Horse to where people were keeping their media rights to their characters, and there won't be any more movie money out of any of that stuff from then on. So it's kind of hard to juice.
I knew a lot of the middle guys at Dark Horse, and we would talk about, publishing and all of this. And I don't know if you remember kind of a switch about probably 12 years ago. Dark Horse went real heavy in board games and started board gaming a lot of their IPs. And I think there was this, and then they were making like pewter, Mass Effect ships, and they were getting into like high-end collectibles. I think there was a part of the company that was like chasing a different dollar when a lot of those IPs dried up and they weren't being invited to all the dance parties that they used to be invited to. And if
they
you
pivoted, they just didn't do it well enough.
Yeah. They did a big pivot. And when you listen to that guy talk, Matts, So I apologize not knowing who he
Matt.
is.
Matt.
Okay, so Matt.
Matt with 4 T's.
Matt.
Yeah.
He was talking about this person was in charge of games and this person, and I think that they probably made themselves so their pivot was so much into games that that's probably what attracted Embracer to buying them, because I think they were buying them to be like more of a board game division than a comic book division, and I don't think Mike really had that as his North Star. And that's probably why he was one of the first ones let go.
Well, it's
thanks,
still,
Alex, for putting that in the chat.
It's still a bummer that that we have another comic book publisher that's being bought out by a non-comic book.
It just sucks that somebody saw fit to put out that this guy was fired.
Yes.
Right.
After everything he gave to this industry and to the company.
It's free marketing.
At 75 years old, to put out that he was fired.
It's free marketing.
It's free marketing in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Because
there's no such thing.
Yes,
no
there
such
is.
thing.
I think there is.
I've talked to at least 5 retailers since this announcement happened, and they are drastically not giving a shit about Dark Horse from this point forward.
Well, I haven't given no shit about Dark Horse in a long time. They don't produce a lot of books that sell a lot.
Their He-Man book is good this week, but I haven't heard a lot. When's the last time we talked about something Dark Horse has really done? And I'm looking at the IPs they hold. They have a crap ton of IP licensing. Where are these comics at? When's the last time you saw a Game of Thrones comic? I mean, you're sitting on that IP.
Dynamite 20 years ago.
Yeah, Dynamite forever ago. And it was weird. Anyway. This is a sad way for them to announce this. Like, shame on whoever's decision this was to put this out there.
Well, I would probably say it's the marketing people and the new CEO, Jay Comas.
The press statement from Dark Horse Vice President of Production Development, Randy, whoever.
Mm-hmm.
If Randy put that press statement out, shame on you, Randy.
Let's talk about this too, because this is the same thing, and now we have another head of a publisher being forced to step away. Ralph Tedesco over at Zenescope is.
Well, I don't know if he was forced. I feel like Ralph left of his own accord.
Well, I say forced because he wasn't necessarily forced, but I think that if from the way that it sounds, he didn't want to, but he had to because he wasn't getting along with people there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just
go ahead and read it. Can you read it, Brian?
Yeah. This is from his Facebook. It says, "I guess it's time to say this to my colleagues, friends, and particularly to many of the Zenescope fans who keep in touch with me here. After attempting to handle things privately and professionally for quite a while, I want to formally share that I'm no longer with Zenescope, the company I co-founded and spent 20 years helping to shape and build. If you're an artist, freelancer, or creator that has contacted me recently looking for updates regarding Zenescope projects or matters, please direct those questions to Zenescope directly, as I am no longer involved in the company's day-to-day operations. What I'm focused on is the present and future. I've taken on the role of Director of Development at Space Between Entertainment, working alongside my longtime friend and collaborator, Pat Shand, developing comics, film, and television projects. I'm also continuing to publish through my new label, Black Crow Comics, in collaboration with Space Between. You can follow all my upcoming projects at yada, yada, yada. Lastly, I very recently co-founded a brand new upcoming convention debuting in downtown Austin. I carry a lot of good memories from my time at Zenescope. 20 years is a long chapter, but it's time to turn the page and start a new one and start the next one onward."
I've known Ralph and Joe for 20 years. I was one of the first retailers to carry their product, support them in a heavy way. I got them their first mention in Wizard Magazine. This does not sound to me like a being forced out. This sounds to me like, hey, we're not going to be able to pay some bills because of somebody else's decision. I'm going to go create my own life draft over here. I am not going down with that sinking ship. Because all what he says up there earlier in this paragraph, if you're one of the creators that keeps calling me asking for updates, I am no longer involved with that, which means a whole lot of people were like, hey, I didn't get paid. Ralph, can you figure this out? And he was like, look, I'm done. I'm over here doing my own convention and my own comic company and my own marketing company. I am no longer with the company I started 20 years ago.
So Zenoscope was at Universal for orders. There's nothing on their page to order.
Dominic Glover drops a $9.99 super chat. He says, I'd love your perspective on comic IP deals, characters like Evil Ernie, Power Hour, or Purgatory. What do acquisitions like that typically cost? Are companies besides Dark Horse buying this much IP?
People are always buying IP.
Dark Horse,
the most valuable thing you can have.
Yeah, but Dark Horse doesn't buy IP. Dark Horse spends more time and effort creating IP.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
No, but back then, back when they built their bones, with the, I mean, I've said it on the show. At the point at which the industry is successful, you don't need to do as many deals as is happening over the last year. Marvel and DC don't do an amalgam when times are when times are great. They do a deal when they need extra money.
So this is what they say. It says, one of the questions, so fewer creator-owned books from Dark Horse then? And they have a quote saying, please be assured that Dark Horse remains fully committed to working closely with you and to creating the very best products and experience for fans worldwide. Our partnerships are central to everything we do, and this transition is designed to enhance collaboration, unlock new opportunities, and support long-term growth.
We actually kind of answered this earlier in the show, Brian. When was the last time you saw Mike Mignola do a cover for anything that wasn't Dark Horse?
Today.
Yeah.
Today. Yeah, this week on comic shop shelves for Marvel the Kitchen comic.
Yeah, that kitchen.
Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying?
No.
Mike Mignola has worked almost exclusively with Dark Horse Comics for 30 plus years. And today he's doing a variant for Marvel Comics.
Yeah. He did a run of Batman, and he did Next Men. Didn't he work with Byrne on Next Men when
long time ago? Way before Dark Horse.
30 years ago, but the Batman stuff was 25 years ago, and then I think he did a little 2-issue one-shot somewhere in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is almost exclusively a Dark Horse in-house artist. And now the week that this happens, he's also doing a Marvel cover.
I don't know. I think people just go where they can get work sometimes. I mean, I think I get what you're saying. To what Dominic was asking about the IP deals, like, it seems like a lot of these companies, and I could be totally speaking out my ass here. I've done it once or twice. They license the IPs. They're not purchasing the entire IP. They license the right to do the comics for the IP. Of course, there's a deal. Most times it involves an initial down payment, let's call it, right? Like you're buying a car or something, a down payment.
Polito said it on our show. He's doing it for a 50% profit share with Nikki to share Evil Ernie.
Yeah, that's the deal they worked out. That's pretty rare. I would imagine those two guys own the IPs that they're working with, so, but if you're going to license, a bigger one from somebody, you've seen Zombie Tramp show up in other crossovers now. So people are probably paying Dan to license Zombie Tramp to be part of their series.
Well, here's what's
it's just-
interesting. You see, speaking of Nikki, he's does it with a lot of stuff. The majority of the stuff that they're publishing over there are not IPs owned by them. It's Disney and Warner Brothers, and they're having to spend a lot of money for those IPs every week, every month. They've got to make a payment, a percentage of what they sell on those items. Or a percentage of, I don't know how it's situated. It's probably situated differently depending on the character or the IP owner, but they're spending a lot of money to publish those books. And here's the other problem with that is your creativity is very limited because they're telling you how they want the covers. They're telling you how they want the stories. They're telling you how they want the art.
You have to approve everything.
Ask anybody that tried to do a Thundercats variant, and those artists got kicked back those images 50 different times. Same thing. Try to do that's why people don't do Star Wars. Well, they stopped selling, but Star Wars variants with Marvel. Artists hated doing those variants. No superhero proportions, no extra this. They have to be very safe covers. That's
family
ridiculous.
friendly.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. So there's lots of rules and laws to get around. And like Brian said, he's writing checks to those guys. And, I'm sure I don't think it depends. There's probably not minimums they have to meet, but, and then, Nick's doing fantastic. He launches a Kickstarter with the IP, he gets a new one, and they just crush it. They're making 6 figures plus on these Kickstarters. So I'm sure the IP holders are super happy. Like, look at this guy's kicking ass, man. We got a huge ass check for this comic book IP. And then of course they're lesser with the lunar stuff, the periodicals, the monthly stuff. But it's just a matter of going out there and asking for them, competing for them. Like I know the dude that was involved in getting the license for Greatest American Hero. And, I was like, how'd you get it? And he's like, I asked. Like, no one asked. It was just sitting there.
And that happens a lot. I've heard that a lot. That it was. I just reached
You wouldn't
out
believe
and
that some people that have like a ton of IP, who own a ton of IP, and they say, "Oh, nobody." I asked somebody, a director who owned a bunch of IP, and I said, how come that's not ever? And it, you don't get a lot of comics made. Just 1 or 2 of them. He's like, nobody ever asks.
Actually, I actually asked, it had to be 8 or 9 years ago. I went to Marvel and I said, guys, Disney owns Condor Man, right? And that's an IP that you could easily put into Marvel.
Who's Condor Man?
Oh,
that's what I was wondering.
Condor Man was a 1980s Disney movie about a comic artist who gets sucked into a CIA plot, and they have to design all of his basically Condor Man comic book creations as things for him to get this woman out of the hands of the Russians. It's horrible.
It sounds like she's staying in the movie graveyard.
Yeah, but I said, guys, this is, hey, let's do a reprint of Condor Man with Marvel Comics. It was an old Gold Key or Charlton comic book. I want to say it got a 3-issue comic book of the movie. It's on Disney Plus, and the Marvel guy would just look straight at me and goes, yeah, but you're the only one that would buy it.
This is a great comment from Jack. He says, some of the biggest IP you haven't seen published into a comic only hasn't been published because the IP holder is requiring huge minimum guarantees and publishers are afraid of meeting the back end. And I've always wondered, why don't we have Nintendo comics? Why don't we have Pokemon comics? I'm so surprised that there's none of those. And the only thing I can think of is what Jack's talking about, is that there's this
deals suck. Yeah. They probably want a huge payment up front. Yep. There's massive minimums they got to meet.
Yeah.
That's probably, and Jack probably, I'm speaking for him. Jack, punch me when you see me at MegaCon. He probably knows, because I'm sure Whatnot's looking into some of that stuff too. So it's tough. But the more popular they are.
Can you imagine? Did you guys buy any of what was the board game that had a comic book?
Condor Man.
No, it's like a dungeon. Munchkin. You remember when Munchkin had a comic?
Yeah.
I don't know what
So they had a
is.
card stuck to the back
Yeah.
page.
It was
just
huge.
with a little gummy thing.
Yep.
And can you imagine Pokemon with a card in the back of the comic?
Yeah, but also, can you imagine how much money you have to give Pokemon USA for them to even give a shit?
Yeah.
Well,
Period.
I mean, like you guys just said, how come there's not a Simpsons comic anymore?
But the thing is, I'm friends with Bill Morrison. It ran its course.
Yeah. Same with Rick and Morty. I mean, they still have a Rick and Morty comic. It doesn't really sell for
eventual miniseries.
I don't get
Simpsons
it anymore.
comics right now would sell. You could sell the shit out of Simpsons comics right now.
I mean, South Park.
Could you imagine?
Simpsons,
yeah, the
Family
covers
Guy.
alone would sell those books. You could do Simpsons.
Well, I can tell you
covers.
why. You want to know why? Because all of those IPs are owned by Cartoon Network, which has literally been in corporate limbo for the last 5 years.
Cartoon Network doesn't own the Simpsons.
That's Fox and that's Disney. But Rick and Morty is Cartoon Network.
But somebody already has the license to that. Though.
Shout out to Alex with the 10 gifted
Oni.
memberships.
Yeah, Oni.
Yeah, but I'm just saying all of these IPs that you guys are saying, hey, why don't they do this? They're all owned by behemoth corporations that you have to either get them when they're not paying attention. Like clearly Nikki has relationships with Warner Brothers. He could probably.
Yeah, but all these companies, Dennis, they got to have somebody in charge of IP.
Yeah, and you better come. You better come with a fat checkbook, or they're not going to trust anybody from this industry, as shaky as this industry is.
Ethan Long, good question. Hey, Emmett, do you sell Sonic at all in your store?
Yes, I do. It sells very well.
But old Sonic sells better.
I cannot sell Sonic.
Yeah.
Really?
No. Last Sonic we sold good was Delato variant for a con.
Because there's no little kids watching
whatnot
live sales.
No, Friday when you're selling Friday live.
Yeah.
For me, little kids buy little kid comics that they know the character. They don't want to take a chance on somebody they don't know.
The best thing with Sonic comics for me is the fact that it's S and alphabetically that's at the bottom of my shelves and it's right at eye level for kids. And I throw any stack of Sonic comics down there at any price, and the parents buy them for the kids. Period. Yep. Boom.
Because kids have these they're very risk adverse when it comes to experiencing something they've never experienced before. The parents really have to go, well, I'm going to take it home and let's see if they'll try it. And they want their kids to be adventurous. That's why they want them into reading comics with stories and stuff. But the kids, they want to get something because they know they're only getting one, right?
Yeah.
So they want to get one they think they're going to like and not get something that if they try it and they don't like it, the parents are going to be like, oh, I'm not going to buy you another one then,
Right.
So
who's doing Sonic right now?
IDW.
IDW could, if they have the rights to do it, if they reprinted all of the Archies at $2 or $3 a piece for retailers, it would fly off the shelves and it would be an evergreen forever.
What do you mean, the Sonics from Archie?
Yeah. If they, you know how Skybound could republish any of the G.I. Joe stuff because they currently own G.I. Joe, and they can republish any of the Transformers because they do that. If IDW had the rights to do that with Archie Sonics, a full reprint series of that just for retailers to stock as an evergreen would be huge.
Yeah.
And it would cost them nothing other than to convert the files and hit print.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if, there's anything that happens with those old books now that, their IDW is seeing what's happening with Transformers and G.I. Joe. And, if they did a Kickstarter to do a compendium for Sonic, that would probably sell well too. Well, who knows? All right. Freaking MegaCon. We got to talk MegaCon. I can't believe how quick it came. It showed up, and we're all getting ready to leave next week. I fly out Monday. I'll be there from Monday to Monday. I know Dennis, I think you're going early too. Sean's going early too. But you guys are spending a little time doing a little vacationing, which is nice, which is always nice before, but then you're going to get there towards the end of the week. This MegaCon for me is very interesting because it'll be one of the first cons that I'm going to where I'm just not hanging out, right? It'll be the first time where I'm actually like going to be doing a whatnot sale, going to be doing an eBay live sale. I'm going to be doing content creation, trying to do interviews. I have panels and stuff. It's a very different type of con for me, and it feels more like I'm looking at it from an industry point of view than a fan point of view. And that's a big change, right? And I know that like it's pretty crazy. We talk to people like Brian Polito, who already he's got his con stuff planned out a year before. Like that's how crazy it goes for him. How long, I'm going to ask Sean first. When do you start planning out for a con? Like when did you start planning out for MegaCon 2026?
December, before Christmas. I know guys start planning for MegaCon 6 months out. It depends on how many shows you do, what you want to get from that show. I bet if you talk to Nelson, for example, for Big Time Collectibles, he rolls into MegaCon deep, and he'd probably been planning for this for a year. Like it's crazy. Other guys, a month, 2 months out. Us specifically, I started around right before the holidays because I knew the holidays were going to hit, and then things are going to be dead and slow. Everybody shuts down. And then when the new year starts, it just goes so fast, so fast. You got President's Day, Valentine's Day sneaks up on you, and then boom, it's time to go to MegaCon. It's like, holy crap. So,
yeah. And the other interesting thing about MegaCon this year
sounds like a lot
is it's also one of the cons where the guest list is freaking massive. I mean, just a massive guest list.
Good and bad.
Good, and that's what I want to get at is this a good thing for a con? Is it a bad thing for a con? And the reason why I say this is twofold. One, there is something in the industry that's happening right now that is not necessarily a new money-making venture, but it happens in waves, right? It's making more money than I've seen in many years, and that is the autograph selling thing, right? Where you have guys going around getting autographs from actors, creators, all kinds of stuff, and they're reselling them on retail live streams, all kinds of stuff. Let me see here. If I go to guest, I want to go to comic creators. So one of the things that I've been keeping an eye on, obviously, is this type of game because, Leg's really big in this game. That's a big part of how he brings in his money. Clutch does that. Sean, you kind of got started playing that kind of game, which is very interesting. And it's become more than I've seen in very many years. Of course, one of the ways that this all started was Dynamic Forces back in the day. And I tell Nick all the time, every time I talk to him, he probably gets tired of me hearing it. I'm like, why isn't Dynamic Forces doing all this? Why isn't Dynamic Forces the industry leader in autographs again? And there's so much money being made off of doing this that we are seeing this uptick in creators raising their prices for autographs. I think I heard that Ryan Otley is going from like $20 to $50
Yeah.
I think it's 50 for anything first series Invincible.
Yeah.
Any issue.
You know, Liefeld was one of the first people that I remember doing it, where he said, you know, any New Mutants 98 or Deadpool, anything, he's charging $50 or $100, something like that. You know, you have this thing happening with the fakes out there that are causing creators to change how they think about, you know, signing stuff or selling their autograph and things they have to do. You know, I heard that Quintana is thinking about doing some type of stamp or something because he saw all the fakes going around. So what I'm getting at is there's this storm that's brewing with autographs, and this is going to be a big autograph con, a huge autograph con with all the guests.
That sucks a ton of money out of collectors' pockets for the guys who have tables there who are selling the comics.
What do you mean by that? Explain that.
Yeah.
So people don't have unlimited money. When you go and you go, well, I want to get an autograph from Ron Perlman. Maybe Ron Perlman's only 150, but you want to get a picture with him too, so that's 200. And then you're like, oh, all right. Well, I brought 1,000, so that's not too bad. I put $1,000 there. So let me go get like there's 6 artists I want to get, you know, autographs from, and they're 50 a piece. So now you're at 500 of the money is already gone, and they haven't bought a comic book. And
but they bought I feel what you're saying, brother. I do. And
no, I'm talking about the guys who are working the con.
Yeah.
And now guys that are going to cons, and we've talked about it. You go to the con and then all night long you're on, or even all day long, you're on Whatnot selling books from the con instead of just working the con. Why not just stay at home and sell books from home?
Because you can't get autographs and get those books from home.
I've been saying that forever. So cons have changed so much. They're drastically different from just when I started going a measly 10 years ago, you know, compared to when Dennis was going in 1932.
What's the bump though? Getting a book. Okay, let's say you got the book early. You paid cost on the book. You didn't have to go buy the book off the secondary market. How much more money are you making after you've paid for a $50 autograph?
It all depends.
Yeah. Not as much on the $50 stuff, but here's the thing. A person like Ryan Otley, here's the problem with him raising his prices to $50, because videos like this come out. This is from a recent Ryan Otley signing. Look at all these signed books. These are all signed books from one retailer. There's probably 1,000 books here or more?
Thousands.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, to get in on those signings, like I'm not going to say here, but I knew what those numbers were to get in on those signings. And let's just say you're 5 figures deep to get in on these personal signings, and you're traveling massive amounts of way, bringing staff. It's a humongous investment. And then I'm sure you're going to get to this, Brian, but what I would say is, okay, you're paying $50 for a signature. What are your chances? I mean, for a long time there, after this big Scott Snyder signing went down, Whatnot was just flooded with Scott Snyder books.
Yes.
Flooded. And I'm like, I'm so glad I passed on this signing opportunity. I'm so glad I passed on it.
Yes.
Because I'd still be sitting on, I've sold so many Scott Snyder signed books when Metal was hot.
Yep.
And Tinian was on Batman, and they're working on it together, and Jock was doing the covers, and you get a book 3 times signed for $20 from all 3 of those guys.
Yeah.
You
so
know?
those days are gone. So you have to stand in line unless you're paying for this, right? You have to stand in line. Your time is worth probably
you don't
as much
necessarily
as
have to
your
stand in
cash.
line. Most creators don't have a line.
Yeah. So what you're saying, Emmett, is like, if you're just a regular dude, if you're not if you're just a Whatnot streamer and you do it as a hobby, the struggle is real. Like, because you either need to find a retailer to get in good with and be like, hey, you're going to go get a signing. Who are you going to get signed? Can I give you 10 books of mine to get signed? Like, sure, man, I'll throw your books with my stack. Or you are waiting in line unless you know that the agent, the dealer, the company, the guys that run Sketch Art or Essential Sequentials or whatever, and you're like, hey, can I drop you guys off 10 books and then I'll come pick them up later. Most times they're going to be like 10 books. No, go wait in line like everybody else. So you got to bring,
you have to bring 100 books or
yeah,
more.
yeah. So it's just, it's who you are. It's who you know, money talks. It's just like any industry like that, but it's tough. It really is. And
it depends.
then,
like you said, it depends on the autograph, the book, the creator, and on what the money that you're able to make off of it. Like Sean said, selling a Ryan Otley signature or a Scott Snyder signature right now, or a Dragotta signature, it might not be the smartest thing if you paid $50 a signature for it right now, because there are 10,000 signatures on the market right now that people are not going to be able to sell all those for the profit that's going to make it worth it to them.
Yeah.
Right. So even though but as guys see retailers getting their signature, right, dropping off 100 books, getting 100 bucks, and then getting 4 times, or let's say 3 times what they charge to, like, let's say they just charge 20, and you're getting probably 5 times, you're getting $100 for the book with the autograph. Wouldn't that entice them or incentivize them to raise the price of their autograph? Because you're making more off their autograph than they did.
It's still a capitalist market, brother. The reason they're charging so much is because people are lining up to pay that much money. If they raise their prices and then the line disappeared, they would quickly drop those prices back down. People are gladly paying those prices right now for these guys' SIGs, and they're limited on time. They're only going to be there so many days.
Right.
They only have so much time they're going to sign. And, if it's like, hey, it's a perfect example. We talked for a while ago. Remember when Jim Lee announced how much his sketches were? They were through the roof. If you're only drawing 5 and you can charge $1 million per sketch and you're sold out in 4 seconds, you probably undervalued those sketches.
Yeah.
Same thing with the SIGs, right? So if people are lining up for them and you're charging 50 a pop, go for it. I could go on a signature rant right now. I rant all the time about signatures.
But this is without grading them, right? That's like.
So yeah, some guys, it depends. If you go up to a booth and they see the CGC guy behind you, they're going to charge you more most times for a graded SIG. Sometimes people don't care. Like a lot of these signings with comic sketch art, if you do a massive signing as a retailer, it's one price, graded. They don't care what you do with it. Put a co in the book. They don't give a shit. Yeah. It just depends. And they'll give you the slip you need for CGC or whatever.
That's not at a convention, right?
It can be at a convention. It absolutely can be at a convention. Most, I tell you right now, and Brian, you're going to get to experience. I was smiling while you're talking about all the things you want to do. I'm like, it sounds great, but then once you get there,
exactly,
you have to basically turn into a dick to everybody because you're like, hey, I want to take a picture. Brother, I don't have time. I got to go do this.
Let's go do dinner tonight. Let's go meet up for lunch. Yeah.
Go have dinner at. I'm going to eat a slice of pizza walking to my room because I have to go live and I got no time.
Bro, I got so butthurt. Well, I didn't get butthurt, but I remember in New York, there was a time where Leg was like, hey man, I got to do a live sale. And I'm in New York, right? And I got to wait from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. for Leg to do a live sale before we can go out and have a good time. And I get to see New York and I get to go hang out with people. And so I had to go down to the freaking hotel bar and hang out down there and wait for Leg, but I get it. Like, this is this is his job now. This is what he does now. And the cons are important for his business. So he can't just go out. I remember talking to Tom, Comic Tom, where Tom was like, Tom and Davis are very, they don't go out, they don't hang out, they don't go party. They just are there for business now. And that is a very interesting thing to have to kind of juggle with cons now for me.
Yeah, it's. I remember so many times I go to Boston Comic-Con. People are like, how was Boston? I'm like, I saw the outside from the hotel to the convention center and driving in and driving out. That's all I saw. I don't know anything about that city. For years, I still haven't been to the Statue of Liberty, and I've been to New York probably 15 times. New York Comic Con.
I live here and I don't know. I've never been. I've been to it when I was in school as a little kid.
I'll tell you guys, I hope someday you can get to the point where you don't give a fuck. My job when I go to a convention is to enjoy the convention, to meet people, to say hi to people, to have a smoke and talk about whatever bullshit. I got to see Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, and Colin Hanks do the John Candy in Brooklyn. I got to go have a slice of the best pizza, according to Dave Portnoy, in New York, John's of Bleecker Street, midday on Friday or Saturday. Went to Times Square with my son. Got to see everybody I wanted to see pretty much at New York Comic Con, because I didn't have to go run off and try to make $1.
Well, I don't know if it's trying to make $1. I mean, this is a perfect example. Jack says sellers are doing 6-figure weekends these days. 6 figures.
I'm bringing three streamers, not counting myself or my manager. Yeah, and you know what? That was New Orleans for me this year. I went to New Orleans. I took my staff. I knew it was going to be a break-even con, and I just wanted to have fun, have a blast. Took the wife. It was awesome. And there will be a day where there has been cons I've gone to where I'm like, I'm not working. I'm going to go as a fan. I'm going to hang out. There's nothing better walking up to someone's booth like, what are you doing here? Hanging out?
Yeah.
Like, got any books for me to sign? Nope.
Yeah, I'm jealous of Dennis that Dennis is at that point to be able to do that. That used to be how cons were for me, but now I'm like, okay, I gotta change it up. At least for this one. This one feels like San Diego and New York to me are always going to be those cons where I'm just going to hang out. But I'm going to start treating the other ones like okay, I'm here. I'm gonna do something that's going to help my brand and my business instead of just hanging out. So MegaCon's the first
Emmett,
one like that.
You know, and Brian, I'm not trashing on that, but Emmett, if you and I at San Diego did not just walk around and be Dennis and Emmett, do you think your brand was built by walking around and doing San Diego the Dennis way, or would you have built your brand better by going back to your hotel room and live streaming each night?
Well, that's not. Say it differently. Say it the Dennis way or the Brian way.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, which one would build? Do you think built?
I don't envy these two guys. I saw before I knew Sean. I saw Sean. I keep pointing the wrong way.
Yeah.
I know.
I saw Sean. The camera fucks me up. I saw Sean and I did not. I knew he was making a ton of money, but I didn't envy it one bit. It looked like he was so stressed and working his ass off. And then I seen Brian over. I'm now pointing the opposite direction. So I saw Brian with the roller cart with the short box on it. Oh, I gotta get this person. So
no, that's not me. No, that's not me.
That was leg.
That
leg. Was leg.
I don't do that. Yeah.
All right.
And
San Diego, at San Diego, I'm just hanging out.
Yeah, you were around everywhere.
Yeah.
Two stacks is falling over.
Yeah. See, I don't run and chase the game. I don't like standing in line. But I am treating it like a network. Like a network and a business thing. Yes.
Yeah. When I'm looking for somebody who has some items that they're going to clear out at the end of the year. You know, can I buy all of your inventory? Can I, what's your license for next year? Is there a pre-order number where I get a bigger discount? All kinds of stuff like that. That's what I'm going around looking for. The Hustle Comics.
Yeah, there's guys that go there and they just deal in the celebrity signatures like Brian was talking about. Yeah. They're huge. I know guys that they deal with hundreds of thousands of dollars a day in money going through their accounts and collecting money for SIGs, doing big time celebrity SIGs. I never wanted to play in the celebrity world. It never appealed to me. the juice wasn't worth the squeeze.
It's
at
not.
all.
It's
Like,
not.
I'm not going to spend $80 to make $10.
I spent 5 years on the other side of that table. It is not worth it.
Yeah, don't want to play that game. But hey, I know guys that do it, and good for them, you know. Like, and like, you know, like Dennis, you accomplish what you want to accomplish at cons, and that's awesome. I accomplished what I want to accomplish. You build your brand the way you need to build your brand, and Dennis and Brian does his, and I do what I need to do. And you know, I get, trust me, it's a crap ton of work, and like we already talked about, it's a humongous investment of money. You're 5 figures deep before you even walk through the door to do it big, right? And but at the same time, it's all about what's your time worth. You know, you can say, and trust me, bro, I get you, and I ain't mad at you when you're like, I look forward to the day you guys can just go and relax at a con. Me too, but that day is not today for me. The day is I want to go big, and I want to gamble big, and I'm going to hopefully win big, and my staff is going to win big, and my artists are going to win big, and my customers are going to have a blast living vicariously through us and our experiences. And I get to build relationships. I can't wait to meet Brian and the crew. Somebody made a comment in the chat about taking a picture of me and Dennis. Look, guys, some of my best friends that I know, I have totally opposite views of the world with them. I'm an atheist. I have a very, very close friends that are hardcore religious dudes, like hardcore religious dudes. There's some dudes that I don't see eye to eye with them on anything, but I love them to death. We get along fantastic.
Yeah.
I love Dennis. Dennis is a great dude. He's accomplished so much in this industry. Like, he paved the way for guys like me to even be here. Do we have opposing views on things? Hell yeah, we do. But I love that we can talk about it. Yeah. And I look forward to having several beers with Dennis and these guys while we're there. Like, so yeah, you want to take a picture of me and Dennis? By all means, go for it, man. I don't care. It'd be awesome.
They don't get it. I mean, it almost every comic shop you go into, people say, "Oh, I know what it is when I open the door to a comic shop." I'm like, fuck you. I said, I've been to so many comic shops, and they are all different. They all focus on something different.
And that's what pissed me off the most about the Hawaiian shirt guy. They treated all of those as if every comic shop was part of those rules that they
came up with. Yeah, the flag, the red flag guys. Yeah, they're still making that clickbait content. Not about stores now. It's about books are no good and this.
Chris Hitchens, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Great man.
Yeah. Okay,
a little too communist for me, but I did enjoy his views on religion.
There's that side of it, the autograph game, which is very interesting, and it's going to be interesting at this con because of the influx of these private signings where not a thousand books are getting signed, tens of thousands of books are getting signed. You know, Scott Snyder signed over 10,000 books on his last private signing. Ryan Otley signed over 10,000 books on his private signing. You know, there are guys bringing in 5,000 to 10,000 books on their own to get signed at these private signings. And
Scott signed at my store for 2 hours for free.
It's going to
signs a ton of free books.
It's going to crash the market, just like it crashed the market on Todd McFarlane's signatures when he started signing. Todd McFarlane's signature before he started signing like crazy. If you remember, Todd McFarlane he never would sign anything for CGC, and he would only sign at a couple events a year. The 2 events in Arizona a year, and then like maybe a couple of cons like San Diego or New York, he would sign, and only
used to do retailers
and 200 people max. Okay,
yeah,
only 200.
The funniest signing of Todd McFarlane that I've ever heard of. When he had McFarlane sports figures, he showed up at the Detroit All-Star game, and one of my friends walked up. He was sitting. They had a whole bunch of people, celebrity, autograph sports people. And Todd McFarlane was sitting with no fucking line for the entire afternoon because nobody brought comic books for Todd to sign because they didn't know he was going to be there.
That's wild.
And my buddy took comic books up for Todd, and Todd was just so happy to have somebody who wanted his autograph.
So he started signing like crazy over the last 3 years. I mean, he signs every figure, everything, pre-signs them, sells them, pre-signs them. He'll sign at CGC thousands of things. You could, before he started signing like crazy, a Todd McFarlane would add $200 to $250 to the book in secondary market value. Now you're lucky to get $80 secondary market value, and you're being charged over that. How much was it for the CGC signing for McFarlane?
160.
Yeah,
but that got it graded also.
So that's, let's say 80.
140.
Yeah, so you're paying more for the signature than you'll probably be able to sell it for, unless it's like a 9/8 banger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His signature is not worth the squeeze anymore. The juice isn't worth the squeeze on McFarlane anymore because he's signing so much. And this is very interesting for creators because a creator looks at it differently. There's some creators that go, I don't care about that stuff. I don't care what my signature is worth on the secondary market. I'm just doing it for fans. Some creators care about that stuff, which is interesting. But again, it's what you're getting the signature for. Are you reselling it? Are you getting it for yourself? If you're reselling these signatures, at some point that market is going to fall out.
I've said it on this show a million times, and I'll say it today. While everybody's chasing the puck over here, you better figure out where the puck is going. If everybody is chasing signature series, autographs, maybe 2,000 Ryan Otley signatures, I'm sorry, I probably just uncovered the greatest Ryan Otley treasure trove, and I'm not going to have him sign a single one because it's not worth my time chasing him down and sinking $50 into every one of those books.
I wouldn't either.
It's just not, because everybody is chasing Ryan Otley's, yellow label over here.
Yeah, you can market them as perfect for signature.
Exactly.
Raw books are now suddenly the thing to get.
And that could be
and speaking of that, my March 25th eBay live sale.
It's all raw, huh? Nice.
Yeah, it's you're gonna man, I'm excited just to hang out with you a little bit at the show, bro, because Emmett mentioned a good point earlier, and he was like, why not, if you're just streaming, why not just stay home and stream? And I know a lot of people, artists, retailers, who wrestle with the same question. Why go all this way, spend all this money, be away from my family, to make 5,000 more than I would have made if I just stayed home? And I spent double that. Like, sometimes it doesn't make sense. A show like this and a show like New York and some of the other ones, New York is almost getting too pricey with the cost of lodging and the booth and everything. But just being in that environment, being able to, your fans know you're there. If you're streaming from MegaCon, gets a little bit of excitement. Things just tend to sell for a little more while you're streaming from there. There's tons of targets of opportunity. Like you said, like, hey, I love dumpster diving. Where's your dollar bins at? I can find books all day in there that I can start for $5 and sell and whatnot. How many books do you got? Is that worth your time to do that kind of shit? But it's just such a different vibe at a con. And then just reconnecting with, for me, I have so many artists that have done variants for me. I just want to tell them thank you. Like, thanks for doing this variant, kicking ass and making this good. And here, I'm going to give you some comps. You never even asked for them. And, setting up private signings. And I'm looking forward to seeing Carla and Lucio again. They're friends of mine. I haven't seen them in years. They're the nicest, most fantastic people, and seeing so much of my other friends, I haven't talked to Jang in a while. There's so many people, Sora and Chris Enod, and just people I consider friends. You finally get to see them, and yeah, of course, there's the streaming at night. That's a whole nother thing. There's no rest. This is a zero fun con when you have 20 to 30,000 steps at the end of the day.
Yeah. So when you were, before you get there, are you looking at everybody else's books? So so where you're going to go first to get some, so that you can sell them?
Yeah, I follow all my peers. You know, you got to know. Let's use some military terms here. You got to know your right and left lateral limits. You
Yep,
got to
yep.
know who's on your right, who's on your left. You got to know what they're friends, but they're also your competition. So know what your enemy's doing. They're not my enemies. I use that military term.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to know what my competition's doing. I got to know what's KRS going to have, what's Big Time Collectibles, what's Unknown Comics going to have, what are these guys going to have for variants, what creators are going to be at your booth. Hey, how much are their SIGs? Do I need to bring a long box for this guy? How much for this? How much for that? And then strategize. Do I want to get these signed? We study that guest list ridiculously on MegaCon, and we've been pulling books for months. We look at FOC, what hot covers coming out that I could have signed at MegaCon that I'm only paying $2 for this book through Lunar or Penguin instead of paying 15 for an exclusive that I could get signed that I could sell for, you got at least double your money. So if you're paying 10 for a SIG, you got to sell it for 20. That's easier to do if you're only paying $2 for a comic up front.
Yep.
You're paying 15 for an exclusive, and then you're paying 10 for a SIG. I'm 35 in. I got to charge somebody $70 for this book. Like, I feel like an asshole. So I'm just going to skip that. I don't even want to be in that scenario, that situation. I'm not going to overcharge my customers because you want to overinflate your signature price. Drives me insane. People are, I'm $20 a SIG now. For what? You're nobody. I mean, I hate to say that. That's a big thing to say, but you get what I mean. Like,
right.
You've been in the comic industry for 15 minutes and you've had 2 hits and you want to charge me 20 a SIG. I just quietly pass. You know how many times I've left long boxes of books for James Tinian in my van because I found out he wants to charge 20 to 30 bucks a SIG. And I'm like, hey, can I get a deal? I got a whole long box. Like, I'm going to give you $7,000. Nope. No deals. Okay.
And you're a writer.
Yeah, you're right. It takes, I always preach.
Like there's like 4 guys that people want the writer's signature from.
Yeah, Scott Snyder.
Scott Snyder, Neil Gaiman until recently.
Yeah. And it's like
Alan Moore.
It takes this long to sign your name.
Yeah.
Right. And you just made what? Okay. Do you need to get 20 for that 5 seconds? 20, 40. Now you need 50. I get it. Depending who you are and the stuff and blah, blah, blah. And flippers are going to get it. And the agents are in these guys' ears. And a lot of times the big guys are splitting the signature costs with the agents.
Yeah.
There can be greed involved, but again, it's supply and demand. There's only one Scott Snyder.
Yeah.
There's only one.
That's when they add the middleman. That's when it starts getting real expensive.
Yeah.
When they have the guy there that's taking all the money and counting everything for you and you didn't have to bring your books. And so
we're already talking like who's going to sink their claws into Brett Bean first. Who's going to be his agent and dealer and have him, and all of a sudden his dork number 1 signature price is going to be $100. I love the retailers that are like, or the creators that are like, you know what? You bought my book. Thank you for buying my comic. I will sign this book for free all day.
That's Scott Snyder.
Or at least.
No, it's not anymore.
Those are other people charging for the facilitation.
No, he made a ton of money. He made a ton of money signing books this last week.
He's not signing those for free. And
he's not signing 10,000 books for free.
Yeah, but
he's going to live nicely off these Batman signatures for a long time.
So if you catch him at one of the comic shops he shows up at, he signs for free.
Oh, I'm sure he would. I've heard Layfeld does the same thing. He'll go into his local comic shop, randomly sign a bunch of books off the shelf. There's guys do that. It's different environments,
Yeah,
for sure. But anyway, I could rant about SIGs all day, but
Brett Bean just raised his price last week, so there you go. Yeah,
but at the same time, like
I understand that. I get that where
creators.
Which book did he do? His name is not clicking. Oh,
Dork.
From Dork. Okay.
I mean, but he's got one of the hottest books right now.
Yes.
And who knows if that's going to last to issue 5? He doesn't know. I don't know. So, dude, if you don't take advantage of it a little bit without screwing over your entire fan base,
leave a little meat on the bone. Give your fans a little bit of, if your fan wants it personalized, hey, do you want it personalized? I'll personalize it for $5,
Most personalizations are free.
Yeah, personalizations are free, for a lot of people. But I get that. Like, But here's the other thing, and I'll say this to creators out there. If there's any creators watching, I know there's some in the chat. I've talked to Mark about this a lot over the years or over the months. And the thing is that you have to leave a little bit of meat on the bone for the people who are flipping those things. Because if you don't, the flippers, like Sean said, the flippers they aren't even going to bother. They're not even going to bother.
Yeah.
And that's a big part of the hobby right now. And I get it. If you're a creator out there that your personal stance is you don't like flippers, that's your personal thing. But if you don't feel that way, leave a little bit of meat on the bone so people
And here's what I would say. If you don't like flippers, the way to avoid them is not by charging flipper prices to your fans. Because I've seen people raise their prices so high.
But Tiny Onion kept you from tying up his line from his main fan base by saying no discount. This is the price I'm charging. And that fan who thinks Tiny Onion is worth $10 a month on his Substack or wherever he does his thing, $20 for the one book he wants to get signed. But if he walks up and some dealer has a long box of 300 books, he might be discouraged.
So almost all those deals are done on the side. They're private signings that are done.
That's another good thing.
I'm just saying.
That's another good thing, because if you're a retailer or a flipper or a dealer that takes up a freaking half a short box to get signed at a con, I'm not cool with that. I'll be honest. I think that's cheesy to me. I mean, it's one thing if you're like, okay, I got a short box and there's nobody at the table, I'll take it up. But if somebody else walks up and they want some things signed, give them a chance to sign. Don't take up all these guys' time at a con at their table signing a short box for you. Do it privately, like Sean's talking about. Figure out a way to do it if they're willing to. Not all creators are willing to do private signings all the time, and you have to work it out with them, and be okay with that. If hey, this con, I'm here with my family and I don't have time to do a private signing. Okay, no problem. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There is courtesy and there's ways to do this the right way, in my opinion. And walking up with a fucking short box or more to a table at a con where other people want to get the autographs, that's not the way.
Yeah, most people know how to handle that. And then, they're not on board and bags. So I got to wait for you to unboard and bag all your comics. And then I got to wait for you to put them back in the boards and bags. Yeah. Can you get the F out of the way, you douche?
Yeah.
That's annoying.
And the other thing is,
hey Brian, I've got to take off early. Can I show you my the things I sent in the video?
Oh yeah, I want to hear about this stuff. What is this? I am very curious.
So I apologize, chat show. I've got to take off. I had a prior commitment, but I just wanted to show you. So I had another hoarder house. If you look at the really nasty fucking pictures.
Detroit? Was it Detroit?
No, this is a 3-year-old trailer park or this trailer, and they made this in 3 years.
Wow.
Was there anything in that Popeyes box? It looks good.
Nothing in that Popeyes box.
I was about to say, do I have time to do a DoorDash?
And can you show there's 2 more pictures of the horde?
Careful, you're gonna make Brian hungry and he's gonna DoorDash some food.
That's right.
Oh man,
no Chick-fil-A.
So we're officially a hood now because we got a crown chicken. I talked about it last week.
You told us.
Oh man, I had some tonight. Lamb over rice. Ooh, some challah food.
Oh, they have lamb?
Yeah. Oh, look at that.
Cat litter. There were litter boxes everywhere.
Oh, that's always
none of them were cleaned. Just Amazon boxes.
I can smell this picture.
Yeah, no, trust me, it smelled worse in person. But if you look at what I got out of it,
amidst the rabble,
Nike Air Forces, all of these were the whole house is a total shit show except for one closet where he kept his shoe collection. And all of the Nikes. I mean, there's some really nasty ones later because I think he wore a couple pair. I didn't do this, Brian.
If you just arrow over, the arrows will work too, just on your computer keypad.
And thankfully, none of the shoes smelled.
Oh, what are those gold ones with the gold on them? I'm not a shoe guy.
Those aren't Nikes, but they're some kind of designer shoe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So did you just buy everything?
Drop.
Yeah, I bought all of that. There was some video game stuff, and those are, I think, Nike 85s, Jordan 85s.
Wow.
No, those aren't original 85s.
No, those are the re-release ones.
Oh. No laces.
Those are good. Those were just beat, but we took a picture of them anyway.
Do you know that Hood got his start with shoes, cleaning and pressing shoes? Yeah.
I did not know that.
So you might
those
want
were worn to
reach
shit
out to
those...
him to maybe.
Did you say cleaning and pressing shoes?
Yeah. Cleaning and
I didn't
pressing
know you
shoes.
press shoes.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
By
So
pressing,
that was I entered the shoe game, and
that looks like was
staff...
born out of murder.
Yeah, exactly.
The blood.
And then just FYI, before I take off, if you show that, it's 30-second video. This is our first Invincible sale from the Invincible Hoard. And we're going to be selling all of these on eBay Live March 25th. We got a second volley that we're probably going to preload just in case. A lot of bangers in here, a lot of really high-end books. That one in particular is like $1,000 plus raw.
I'm gonna pay you right now cover price for all the price tags on there.
Yeah, but that's the hilarious.
Price is marked.
Yeah. No, we've already switched out all the bags and boards, but I left those there for posterity.
That's awesome. Price is marked and it's sold.
And then the next video is 70 to 99 or 100. I can't remember.
I only have one video in here.
I thought I sent both videos. Go to the. Okay, must not have clicked through. But it's another video like this. I'm going to post it on my social media. Yeah, that's the week I come back from. MegaCon.
Do you have it?
I'll be doing that on Wednesday.
Do you have it started yet? So we can.
No, there's a weird thing with eBay Live. You can only start the auction if you want to start populating it with the amount of 10 days before the auction, which means I can't load the items until...
No, but you can make the auction so people could go and hit remind me when it's ready.
Oh, you can?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You can't load the stuff, but you can at least make the auction and put your thumbnail up like this. So when people click it, they can go hit remind me and they'll get a notification.
Okay. I'll put that up. So just be on the lookout for it, guys. I'll have that in the next day or two.
I'll put the link when you have it up. I'll put the link in the description as well.
Sounds good.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys, have a great show. Sorry I have to leave.
All right, later, brother.
Take it easy, Dennis.
God, finally.
You
didn't get a chance to respond.
Yeah. So back to MegaCon. All right, so we have the auction or the autograph part, which is going to be very interesting and to keep an eye on. And then we have the variant part, which we kind of talked about. There's going to be so many variants out there, but there are some really good variants that are going to be at the con. One, we were remiss if we don't talk about Mark. Mark has some amazing variants that are going to be available at the con. Let me go ahead and show you guys these. So these are going to be available.
Real quick, I love that he put almost all these in the back of the Issues of Monsters that comes out this week with the print runs in the back. Like we talked about in our video today, we did, where Mark's one of the only publishers, retailer, or creators that puts the print run on the back of every issue. And all of his, I'm sure there's a couple of exclusives not on the back of the book because he's still putting them out, but you can see the majority of the ones for Huntsville and for MegaCon are on the back. He needs huge props for doing that. That is awesome.
Amen. Yep. And not only that, I got to give him some respect because, we've talked about this. He's going to MegaCon because he's going to be down there already for his family celebrating his son's birthday. So he's not going to be. It's kind of like you know, I mean, obviously he's going to MegaCon to be part of the con, but he's already going to be there, and he's kind of doing this. You know, it's not the reason he's down there, but he's still going to be doing signing. He's gonna have the variants available, but he's only going to be doing it Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so no Sunday. So I want Spears fans to know this. Be ready. It sounds like the way he's going to do it, and we'll talk about this throughout the week once he gets it finalized, that he's going to only be signing for 3 hours per day, and he'll announce those. And what is really cool is it sounds like he's got very rare metal versions of these books that are like limited to, like, you know, 25 or 15 or less. And the way you get those is during those signing times that he has. If you want a shot at one of those books, if they're not already sold out that day, you have to roll a pair of dice and roll a certain number, and then you get the opportunity to get the books, which is very cool. I like that. So if you're a Mark Spears fan, be ready for all this. And then he's got a couple of panels, which is going to be fun. And then he's got an eBay live sale. So this is going to be a big deal. I've already heard from a lot of people that are going just because Mark's going. So that's going to be awesome. That's Mark's first con. That's a big deal. So that's pretty sweet. Then cool. We also got to talk about, well, speaking of Mark, Sean, are the Absolute 19 books, are any of them going to be available at the con? No. Okay.
No.
Okay. So
No.
that's interesting.
It's crazy because all these scarecrow covers you're seeing flooded out right now. Speaking of which, Mark revealed his. But all these ones coming out, they're not going to be even out. He even said, yeah, April 8th is when they're going to be. That's release day for these. So all these,
because 18 comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, 18's out tomorrow. So 19's at least 30 days out.
Away, yeah.
Okay. So that's a good thing. So we aren't going to see all those variants at the con too. But
you probably see second, third, fifth, ninth prints of all different. I'm sure there's a bunch going to be there.
This is going to be the con of Absolute and Invincible.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Which is wild to make Invincible relevant again.
Well,
like 10 years after it ended, or 8 years after it ended.
Good for them. I mean, with the TV
it's great. No, yeah,
nuts.
If I put a bad tonation on my voice about it, no, I love it. I think it's great.
Shout out to Rye, who just dropped 50 gifted memberships. So much. Thank you so much, brother. That's great. And then, of course, you know, Sean, you've got a bunch of variants that you're going to be what happened with this? Did this sell out?
Well, that's all we can show of this one.
Yeah.
Because it's
you get your covered, taken down again.
So that's EOM. I got a great EOM cover for Into the Void. Into the Void is our new issue from Merc. All the Merc characters are back, and there's a lot of cool stuff happening. Emmett, I'll send you a PDF of this thing. You want to check it out?
Awesome. Yes, sir. I'd love to read it.
Pretty good. It's been a long time coming. Very excited for this. But that's going to be a great variant we'll have at the show. Very limited. I limited all these to like 250 or less.
Good. That's awesome.
And you can still pre-order some of the trade dresses, I think, of this on our website. Use code Beyond 10.
You also have the zombie tramp that we talked about earlier in the show.
Yeah, Don McTagg. These are only the up close variants I've shown today. These are going to be on sale. These are super limited, 50 each. The sketch covers, that one's limited to only 25, individually numbered. So the up close covers, I love doing these with the art. I zoom in on them up close, and then I release the full body the next day. So the full body variant will be revealed tomorrow, and sold on, what was today? Tuesday. So Thursday, it'll be in there. Hey,
shout out to Rye, who just dropped another $10 super chat. He says, Sean, I'm one of your 2.0 top tier guys too. Hell yeah.
Love it, brother. Thank you for all the support, man. You guys help me be able to do stuff like this.
Yeah. That's the big
Super
thing.
appreciate it.
That's the big thing, and I wanna second that. I talk about it all the time. I love the community that's being built around all this, and you guys are a big part of the reason that we get to go to these things. Also the reason that we get to offer some of the things available to you guys before the shows, because if you guys weren't here supporting us and helping us get to these cons, we wouldn't be able to drop a certain amount of these variants pre-con for you guys, or give you percentages off and stuff like that. So your guys' support is immense and a big deal. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at it with for example, just small example, I got Superman, Batman up for pre-sale, 20% off. If you use the code, you're gonna get another 10, that's 30% off. If you spend $100, you're gonna get free shipping. At that point, I'm making 80 cents a cover on an $8 cover or $7 cover. I want you guys to have them. There's benefits for me long term, even if I make 80 cents, which is nothing. It raises my threshold for ordering. So
Yep.
in Lunar, I can get. Oh,
I
that's
like
Courtney
that
Rose.
cover.
That's Courtney Rose's cover. Courtney is getting better and better. I've been a fan of her art for a while. She's known for very heavy eyes. She draws heavy eye makeup.
Yeah.
And the big lips in her girls. But she just loves drawing her girls that way. There's more variants to this.
It's
The
really
rose
good
cover,
anatomy, though. That's really good anatomy.
it's very good anatomy. That rose cover is limited only 25.
This one's gorgeous.
That's the next Power Hour series book called The Fallen One. It's telling the lore of the story of Power Hour. I'm telling the story backwards. So, and this is Don McTagg's art. Again, there's naughty variants to this. Beautiful, going to be at the show. The colors, Dawn colored this all herself.
Wow.
That's the sketch background. Look
That's
at that.
gorgeous, with that black and white background with the butterflies and the rose and the flowers being colored.
They won't be here in time for the con, unfortunately, but there's a spot foil and a spot emboss of the butterflies and the energy and the roses. It's going to be beautiful.
That's going to be a big one. Code is beyond 10.
Beyond 10. All these ones you're showing now are going to be released between now and Saturday. And I haven't even shown these covers before. This is a exclusive first peek to Beyond Wednesdays. No one has ever seen these Don McTagg covers unless you watch her draw live on her Facebook show.
That's awesome.
So appreciate Brian showing those. And we're giving away a cover too at the booth. I don't know if I sent it over. It's all in fun. It's the dude fighting there's the Virgin. Oh, that's Andrew Mangum. This is for Into the Void. That's Death Rage with a bunch of death happening.
I like Death Rage. Good
love
character.
This cover. It's the wrap cover. I love Andrew Mangum. His art's fantastic. Got a black and white background variant. So we're giving this away at the booth. Andrew Mangum's son, Gabriel, did this cover. And he did it around the times when the protests were happening in the streets. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? We've kind of both had this idea. And I was like, you know what? Let's do the Captain America homage. The Virgin's going to be free with a $20 purchase. And the trade dress is going to be free, one per person, Saturday at noon. I'm sorry, Friday at noon. My bad. Friday at noon. First 100 people are going to get a copy of this for free. They're individually numbered 1 to 100. Same with the Virgins. But giving those away.
Is good, man.
How old is the son?
He's in his 20s, early 20s.
He's good. His composition is good.
Yeah, I love this.
The Trump's a little off, but like the foreground character is fantastic.
Yeah, and he drew him that way on purpose. Like I talked to him about it, and everything he did is very intentional.
Okay.
And I'm a very center guy. I'm probably a little center right now with all the woke shit that's been happening in the last few years, but I'm very center. I have a love-hate relationship with Trump. I think I like some of the stuff he does. I hate some of the stuff he does. So I'm not like a huge Trump guy. I don't want people to get that, I'm not wearing MAGA hats around and shit. I believe the truth is in the middle, not to make this a political show, but the truth is always in the middle. The far right are crazy and the far left are crazy. They're all crazy.
They're actually on the same team.
Amen. Yeah.
They just don't know it.
Ruckus.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
None of them give a shit about us. Spoiler alert.
1,000%.
None of them give a shit about any of us.
Amen.
Period.
Amen.
Right, left, doesn't matter. They don't give a crap about any of us. But anyway, we're going to be giving some of this stuff away. This stuff's going to be on the website. Thanks so much for showing some of the stuff, Brian. I'm really excited about the stuff that Merc is putting out now and the Power Hour stuff coming out. The interiors are just, oh my God, beautiful, especially for the Fallen one. Just next level interiors. You're going to be like, this is an indie book? What?
So here you guys go. These are some of the books that are going to be available at the con, and some of these are available limited amounts over at comicselite.com right now. Use code BEYOND10 to get 10% off. And some of these you already have 20% off, I believe, on some of them, which is great. And if you guys spend $100, you get free shipping. So
yeah,
bunch of ways
guys.
to save some money.
Just hey, I partner on exclusives with a lot of guys. I take about 10 to 15% of everything 616 does. I'm in a group called Alpha Exclusives. I'll probably do a show about that group. Brian's talked about maybe talking about those guys too. It's just a great group of dudes. You know, I know people have said a lot of bad things about 616 about John over there, but I did nothing but get along with the guy. You know, it's comics is a very interesting universe, as Emmett can attest. Who's been in it longer than me.
Well, I think that not only are comics a very interesting universe, just this universe in general is interesting. And you said something earlier that I try to live my life by, and that is nothing in this world is black and white. There's always it's all nuance. It's all the situations. It's all how it relates to you. And it's one of the things, the main things of this channel is that conversation is key, and to see how you deal with those situations or react to those situations, and giving people a voice, you know, to defend themselves, or to, you know, just to sit down and you know, talk about those situations. I love, and this is what I say all the time, change my mind. I am willing to have my mind changed. I'm always open to a mind change. And I think that anybody that looks at a mind change as something negative or inferior they're not old enough yet. You know what I mean? What's that famous saying that they always attribute to Churchill that says, you know, if you're growing up and you're not, you know, left leaning, you have no heart, or I forget the way he puts it.
Yeah,
but
yeah. If you're young and not a liberal, you have no heart. If you're old and not a Republican, you have no brain.
Yes,
Something like that.
Yeah,
Something along the lines of that.
And it's where you are in life. Again, nuance. Everything is different. You know, and I'm sure we're all very similar. When I was young and dumb, I remember I had to sit down with my dad at one point and apologize to him, because I remember I would fight with my dad on everything political that I had the chance to, you know. And I remember, you know, telling my dad one day, taking him out to dinner and just being like, Dad, I'm sorry. I was such an asshole. And he just looked at me and he goes, you're getting older, man. Things change. And that's the difference. Things change. And, you know, this platform is a place to, you know, give those opportunities for change to happen. And I haven't really had a chance to respond back with John, but at some point we're going to bring John on Beyond Wednesdays to talk. And that's what I love about content in this channel, is that, you know, there might be situations out there that give people a reputation, and let's bring those people on to talk about it. And
you know, it's the a single person, your perception is your reality. And if your reality sucks, you have to change your fucking perception.
Yeah. Amen.
Love that.
It's that simple, man.
Love that.
Amen.
You know, not to make this there's a whole nother show we could talk about, but you know, when you're young, you're not married, you don't have a kid, you don't own a house, and then, you know, you own a business, and all of a sudden, if you don't own a business, your 401k matters, and just your priorities change, man. You know, especially once you get married, once you have a kid. everything changes.
Yeah.
Everything. You know,
You're not too worried about breaking your arm or your leg when you're in your 20s. You don't have no responsibilities. You just go to the emergency room, they'll fix you up or whatever. Insurance, no insurance, don't fucking matter. When you have a kid and that kid gets really sick, you're going to care whether you have fucking insurance or not.
I tell you, I rode crotch rockets when I was younger. Just loved them when I was in the military.
Yeah.
Man, I drove like a total complete douchebag. I was swerving in and out of traffic. I was that guy that you're honking at, like, look at this asshole. And I loved it. Now I wouldn't even get on a motorcycle now. There's too many people counting on me in the world.
Yep.
I can't do it. I don't know if I could get in that position. I could. I'm just kidding. My bad. Hey, you got a great question in the chat there, Brian, from Derek.
Yeah, where
He
he
wants
asked
to know
about
if
Deviant
Deviant
Nation.
ever took you up.
Deviant Nation has not taken me up on coming on yet, but you know, in all honesty, you know, I haven't really talked about it with these guys, but I did have a conversation with Deviant Nation. I talked to him on the phone. Very interesting conversation, and I ended the conversation.
My guess is he's very eloquent.
No, but he is.
Oh, that's a surprise.
Yeah,
but he's full of excuses and reasons.
Yeah, but he's. It sounds like he's new to comics within the last 5 years, and he fell in love with live streaming, and he's built a business around it. They shipped over 50,000 comics or shipments last year, I guess. You know, and he wants to be part of this industry, it sounds. And I told him, I said, listen, man, you've dug yourself a hole, and you know, I don't know you from Adam, and I don't know if you're, you know, a decent guy or if you are a big piece of shit that's making counterfeits. But right now you're in a deep hole, and you need to prove what you know. If you're saying that you haven't done these things, you need to prove it. And the problem is that there's a lot of evidence, whether it's, you know, what do they call it, like not decent evidence or good evidence or bad evidence. There's still some accusations and some evidence out there that any logical person would look at the evidence that I've seen and go, yeah, there's something that smells off here. And I told them, I said, my communications are open with you right now, but that could change. If there's something that comes up that shows me that you are this big scammer and piece of shit, like, that's going to change. So we'll see what happens with him. But I did tell him that, you know, you've got an uphill battle right now. And yeah, circumstantial. Thank you, Eggplant. So you said you have a big battle right now, and you're gonna have to dig yourself out of a major hole. And I gave him, and you're gonna love this, Sean. He mentioned that he had gotten into it with you in a post a little bit. And I told him, and I said, listen, man, if my advice to you is, instead of fighting this and arguing, take people like Sean and other people who are in this industry that have been in your shoes before in similar situations and have figured out ways to deal with it and to make their brand better, and they've learned from it. And instead of fighting, you know, take it as a learning thing, and hey, what did I do wrong, and tell me how I should do better, instead of fighting it. And I hope that more new retailers in this industry take that advice. You know, it's much easier to say to somebody who can give you information or give you advice, hey, what can I do better, rather than fuck you, I do it better than you, and you know, I don't got to listen to you, type deal.
Yeah. I don't make this show about him again. We've already talked about him, but you know, like you said, bro, where there's smoke, there's fire. And when your spidey sense is going off, telling you something ain't right, probably something isn't right. And the best thing to do is just honesty is the best policy. If Epic Nation would have said, I effed up, I made a lot of mistakes, I did screw these people over, I'm going to acknowledge it, and I'm going to make it right, I would have had 1,000 times more respect for the guy, and he probably would still be around in our industry.
Yep. And because he
You just
didn't,
gotta admit it.
he's still scumming. He's still, freaking scamming people and
Yep.
Yeah.
Cut and
doing.
run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's now in the Pokemon game.
The next time any of us guys, anytime anybody gets in a fight with your wife, just do this. No matter what she says, you left your underwear on the floor again, blah blah. Just say, you know what, babe? You're absolutely right. I bet you feel very disrespected by what I did. I can't promise it won't happen again, but I can promise you I'm going to try my best to not do that anymore. And I hope you can forgive me. What you going to say? Let her keep ranting and raving. Let her keep going on. Just be quiet.
She's gonna be like,
You're
"Fuck
right.
you! Quit patronizing me.
You're
What are
right.
you doing?"
But you're
Sorry,
right.
sir. I keep my pimp hand strong.
When you respond with that same energy, now it's
Yeah.
just a contest to see who can win.
Yep.
And it's the same in business. Just be humble and admit when you're wrong.
I would agree
If
that in business.
we had a talk today, I had a dude get a big shipment in and they weren't packaged properly. All the corners are damaged. I said, here's your options. Keep them for a full refund or send them back. I'll reprint all of them. And they're metal special numbered copies. I'll reprint all of them and send them back to you. Let me know what you want to do. I'm sorry that happened. I acknowledge it happened. There's a miscommunication in another business. I thought I was getting 2 of these things for free. But one of my employees like, I never said that. I never gave them me right. They're trying to get free comics. Bro, I'm sorry there's a miscommunication. We missed it. I'm going to send you the free books. And then keep a note in the back of your head. There's something fishy with this person.
Yeah.
Anyway. But this dude, this Deviant Nation dude, if he did come forth and say, hey, you know what? These covers are all AI. That's step one. Everybody knows, right? And you know what? He's never going to admit that he made fake covers. He's never going to admit to that. I mean, that'd be the dude's death knell. There's no coming back from that. But if he admitted these are all AI covers, absolutely.
Yeah.
My bad. I thought I was creating them. I got caught up in the excitement of making AI stuff. It's very addictive. It is. It's fun. Well,
he's supposedly an artist, right? He's listed on the internet as an artist.
No, he did admit to me. He said, and I'll give him credit for this. He did say, yeah, because I brought up. I said, first of all, the Katana cover is the main issue here, and you're gonna have to prove that otherwise. And but other than that, let's put that to the side. Let's talk about the AI stuff that is on that you sell. I go, there's the pendulum is swinging. The community is not liking the comic community and the creator community and the retailer. They look down on this AI stuff. But the worst part about it is that you make them look like comic books, and they're not comic books. And people think they're buying collectible comic books that like a real artist done when it's just AI. And he said, yeah, that's I see that. It was just him having fun where he could take a picture of his wife and then put it in AI and make it look like something else. And he admitted to that.
His wife don't look like that.
Well, of course, but
there's no amount of manipulation. I'm telling you.
But you know what I'm saying? Like you could take a picture of yourself. You don't have to be a female and in a pose and say, "Hey, make this black cat really make this pose look like black cat." To the point where he's got you've got models coming over and making these poses, and you're turning them into stuff. That's the type of thing that you can do in different ways. It doesn't have to be made to look like a comic book to kind of scam somebody. Turn it into an art project. Shout out to James Welch. Let's go way back to the Mad Love thing. And I got to give, James credit on this. He said, you know what? I had that conversation with Sean was very impactful. And I've decided, he said, I'm going to work more on my own IP, which he has been. And instead of doing these comics, he's been doing these art books with cosplayers that are really cool, very high caliber, and he's found his own way to do it in a way that doesn't look scammy or grifterish. And that's a key, you know what I mean? So if Deviant Nation can take the same roads, or any retailer out there that's doing the AI stuff or the IP infringement stuff, there's ways that you can do that without looking like a grifter or scammy. So
yep. Yeah, and there's still. Speaking of grifter and IE stuff, last thing I was going to mention about MegaCon is if you haven't seen it yet, there's always 2, maybe 3 dealers. They got these big bins full of prints, and they're just printed comic book covers from the internet. They're low quality, they look like shit, and there's people just pouring through these prints looking for. They're selling them super cheap. I've so many a couple. I got one long time ago. I got one kicked out of New Orleans. But I'm like, where did you get these from? And they're always like, oh, I bought them from someone else. Doesn't matter. You're selling them here. It's scammy. You don't own the cover to Amazing Fantasy 15 or Hulk 181. Why are you selling a terrible print of it? Like, you're not supposed to be selling this stuff. Like, why do you even have it? So those kind of people drive me insane. The craft people that make, the little beads out of Mario or whatever, that's different. They don't own that IP, but it's like a one-off kind of craft thing. There's ways around that, but just straight up selling a print of a comic book cover that you don't own. I like looking through those because sometimes I find prints of artists that are friends of mine, and they'll steal the images from the internet and sell them. And I sometimes I assign myself as I'm the comic police, and I just can't stand seeing people take advantage of other people. I hate that. It's very bullyish to me, and scammy and shifty and lying to collectors and just general fans. Dudes walking around with their kid in a stroller and their wife. They just like comics and they think it's legit, and they're buying this. You're just taking advantage of people, and it's just shitty.
They're trusting that the convention has, checked out all these people. That's why they have trust in buying from anybody. That's once they come through those doors, they have complete trust in everybody that's there. And that's why some people get angry at the conventions for not.
And another thing we're going to see is how many. I already seen a couple of dealers doing a couple of these Orbit books, which is Tidal Wave.
Yep.
See how many of those are. I mean, again, hey, if it's a biography book and the cover is of that person, that's legit.
I'm okay with that.
The more it looks like the person, the better.
Yep.
Buy those all day long. Those are legit legal biographies. If they're dressed as a superhero or if it's got a Pokemon on it, that's not cool.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you about that real quick. Trolls Comics was in the chat earlier, and he put out that post talking about how, he wanted to do a variant with an artist, and I believe the publisher came across and said, "Hey, listen, sorry, we're not willing to do that book because we looked up the artist and saw that he had done some Tidal Wave books in the past." And that's a big deal. It's something that we've been hearing behind the scenes for a while, but it's the first time that we've had like real proof that this is happening, So
yeah, I've been told by many people, they will not approve someone that's done these books at not just like one. Oh, I did one book. Okay, well, you can explain
trying
that
to break
away.
in. Yeah.
I didn't know. The guy said it was cool. Yeah, but repeatedly done, and some of the scammy art books. Yeah, Orbit, Fame, Sketching the Beast, Orbit, Fame, they're all the same.
Yep.
Same.
And if you went to college to be an artist and you went through classes, you fucking know what's copyright and what's not. And, you're not no dummy to the fucking what you're doing is not right.
That's the thing that gets me. That's the thing that gets me is that, and this is some of the things that really pisses me off personally. And, again, it could change my mind. If you think it can change my mind, I love open the conversation. But there's some retailers out there that they just don't care. Hey, I'm making money. I don't care what Marvel says. I don't care what DC says. I don't care what you say. I'm making money. And I'm not,
I'm not going to call them out here, but I get some emails, and it's I follow, like I said, I follow as many of my peers as possible. And when I see some, I'm just like, it's almost like disappointment too. It's like, oh, really, man? Like, come on, like
you too.
Like you too, like better than this. Like, come on, man. Have you no soul? Do you not care about the industry that you say you love? Because it hurts it deeply.
Yeah.
And
I understand. I understand Sketching the Beast where he says, I can't believe people are being blacklisted for accepting a job, though. As an artist, it's freaking hard. And I take jobs as they come. But yeah, that's crazy. And I get that too. Like, that's what we talked about. Are artists who worked for Tidal Wave in the past going to be held, and they are now. We're seeing that. This is true proof of that. That yes, unfortunately, it could affect you for the future now. Is that good or bad? I don't know yet,
But here's what I see lots of these guys that do the booby books out there, right? And they will straight up hire someone to draw, hey, can you draw me Captain Marvel? And then I want 3 versions of it, and she's less clothed the further you go, right? I get it. I've done those covers. I used to do that stuff before I had my own IPs, before I knew better, right? As an artist, you know that when you're being hired to draw Black Cat in certain poses with her bazonkers out, that's not a legit Black Cat. So Sketching the Beast, if someone says, and I'm not throwing this against you, brother, this in chat, I can't hear your tone, same thing. But if someone wants to say, hey, I just take the jobs they come, man, it's a hard life out here. What do you want from me? You can't ban me for doing Marvel covers because I do Black Cat with their bazonkers out. The answer is, you're damn right I can, because you knew better. You should not have done that. I hope that $600, whatever it is, cover fee was worth.
If that
was worth getting
blacklisted in the industry,
banned.
Yeah.
I mean, I submit artists through my dude to DC for approval, to Image for approval.
I can't believe Jonathan can't get approved. Is it because of his style? Baravecchia.
Oh yeah, he's crazy good. But yeah, it's a process to get someone approved to do variant covers for Marvel, DC, Image. Dynamite's easier. These other guys are easier. Smaller ones are easier, but the big 3, Image, Marvel, DC, it's very difficult to get someone approved, and they will look at your Instagram, they'll look at your portfolio, they will look at your stuff, they'll Google search your name, and you will get the boot very quick. Shikari will never be able to do covers for the big 2. We got him approved for Image. That was all John that did that work, to get him approved for Dynamite and Image, and he's actually working on a couple of top secret projects. One may or not be G.I. Joe, but he's been approved for some really cool stuff, but he'll probably never get into the big 2, never, just because he's drawn too many of those characters with their bazonkers out. Yeah. And the word of the day is bazonkers, by the way.
It's my favorite word.
Yeah. But it's tough. But once you make it, now you can do naughty covers, but not of the IPs that you don't own. Like, people all the time have been like, well, look at this artist, Mirka Andolfo. She'll draw a super sexy cover. Yeah, she's also lives overseas. I think she's French. I can't remember. I can't remember. Forgive me. But it's more their culture to do that. Nudity is not a big deal as it is over here, because we're, uptight Christian nation type thing. And, violence is totally fine to have a guy's brains blown out, but don't show a boob. I mean, we got to draw a line somewhere. Right?
Rye with the $10 super chat that says bazonkers.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But anyway, I could rant all day about this kind of stuff, man. I've been talking about this for years.
Before we get into the end of the show and talk about if these guys had any pickups this week, I want to give a big shout out to Boom and Greg Hopkins at Boom. Emerald City Comic-Con was last weekend, and this is the type of things that I love the most about Beyond Wednesdays and creating content and the brand and this community, is that Greg said in the chat a couple of times in the chat, and just people who were in the live show saw it, hey, if you come to the booth at Emerald City Comic-Con and show that you're a part of the Beyond Wednesdays members, which a lot of you guys have been gifted memberships over the past couple months, we'll give you one of the Sveta red variants, for the first couple people. I think it was the first 5 people that come up, and only one person took them up on it. So shout out to the person that took them up on it. I don't want to give them away or anything because I'm showing their face, but this was awesome. And I don't know if anybody took him up on it the next day. On Sunday, he put on Saturday night in the chat, he put, if anybody shows up Sunday and shows that they're a Beyond Wednesday member, the first 5 people will give them a free Flops Comics mystery bag, which we're selling for ridiculous amounts at the con. So big shout out to Greg over at Boom. Just doing amazing things over there. And again, thank you so much to everybody that's part of the Beyond Wednesdays community. I am so proud, and I don't talk about this a lot, but I'm proud of the fact that Beyond Wednesdays is the place that I always wanted it to be. And what do I mean by that? I always wanted this to be a place where it felt like you're a fly on the wall at a comic book shop and people were shooting the shit about comics. And then I also wanted it to be that those people are not just comic fans. They're comic fans, they're comic creators, they work in the industry, and that they feel okay about coming on the show or talking in the live chat or talking in the comments. And there's been a lot of artists in the chat tonight. I talked to a lot of creators that watch the channel. I talked to a lot of people in the industry that love the channel, and that I see a lot of people in the industry, retailers and industry vets that are in the chat. Multiple people have been in there tonight. And I just want to say thank you. And I can't, thank you guys enough for that. So thank you.
Kudos to you, man. You built this up, and it's hours of tireless work, planning, editing, thumbnails. It is a freaking beast to create what you've created, and your personality draws these people, keeps them here. So we all need to give you a round of applause too, bro, for the work you've done.
Thank you,
because it's no freaking small feat to create what you've created, a safe community for people to come and hang out and just hear the truth. Like it, love it or like it, you're gonna get it here, right?
Hell yeah. All right, let's talk about. Did you guys have any interesting pickups this week? Emmett, did anything crazy walk into the shop? We already saw Dennis crazy Hoarder House Nike score.
Yeah, and that's the kind of stuff that like I go looking hunting for all the time too. Is a house full of stuff, but I don't have one this week. A guy was supposed to bring in a comic collection today, and I was all excited. I said, "Oh, I have something to bring tonight." He didn't fucking show. So, yeah, I don't have anything this week. I got stuff in, but nothing, take up people's time. Just regular bread and butter shit.
Yeah, I got nothing either, bro. I'm so busy with getting ready for MegaCon. Maybe a ratio variant or two I stashed away. I stashed away a bunch of the Transformer cover A's because I think it could be something. I'm specking on that book a little bit, but that's it, man. Most of my stuff's all digital covers coming in. Super excited about MegaCon.
Yeah, I think that's the key. We're all getting ready. I'm bummed Emmett's not going to be there, but we'll see him at the next one.
I am too.
And listen, hopefully you guys stop by and say hello at MegaCon. Stop by and say hello at Comics Elite's booth. Stop by and say hello to us. We'll be partnering up with Clutch and Rups Comics. Right next to Rups Comics will be the Big Clutch's booth. And then also Mark's going to be there. Stop by and say hello to us at Mark's. We're going to be hanging out at all 3 booths all weekend, and it's going to be a lot of fun, and I can't wait for it. So that being said,
a couple things.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just before you close out.
Yeah.
One, the CEO or president or whatever of CGC was on YouTube,
Matt
interviewed.
Nelson. Yep, I saw that.
Matt Nelson, and you did watch it. It was deep. They went deep.
Yeah.
They softballed the fuck out of him.
Yeah,
but
understandable.
They did talk deeply. They did talk deeply about difference between conservation and restoration. And man, I didn't like, if you're getting your books cleaned and pressed and all that, they went deep on what conservation could actually be, and not get into restoration. So yeah, there was that. This
was a great show. Flying L Comics, I believe, is the name of the channel. Comic Book Conservators was the episode 91. And shout out to Matt Nelson. I like Matt Nelson. I think Matt's a great guy. He's always been very open to us about, jumping on, doing interviews, talking with us. And I understand that take. Matt was one of the first guys that we ever really got from the industry to come on and talk with us about the industry over at Flipside. And I understand that, you don't want to like make the interview uncomfortable for somebody. You want them to come back and you want them to have a good time. So sometimes you have to softball some questions, but even with softball questions, like you said, Emmett, there's some good information.
There was a lot of
to
good
take out of it.
information you
Yeah.
could get if you are a person that likes to grade, and there was a lot to take away from it. I don't like grading, but I don't tell anybody how to collect their books. I just want them to be educated. I think all the problems in the world could be solved with education. And I think that people really don't. People tell me all the time, I want my books protected. They don't offer protection. I want my family 30 years from now, when they sell the books, that it's graded, so they don't guarantee their grade. It's like, and I wish they were way more transparent on how they train their people and what they're actually looking for.
I'm just shocked you don't like grading. When did this happen?
I got to get that in every show a little bit, just a little. Oh,
We're about to go for another 30 minutes. No,
but I thought the show was good. I actually do like Matt. I think that for the most part, he is pretty transparent when he's on these shows and answers the questions. Nobody ever gives him really hard questions, which, I get, but I do think they just need to be a lot more transparent with what they offer and how they train their people.
I agree.
I think that would make a lot of people like me way more comfortable.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you don't see any museums doing that.
Yeah.
Museums don't treat their documents like that.
Well, I got to be honest, man. I've been looking at Tag a lot lately about maybe doing some grading with them, just because of the simplified process, and that it's not
the
human.
turnaround.
Well, turnaround, but also it's not like the guy is pissed off and giving you a bad grade. It's all based on parameters set by the computer, and unfortunately you can't do that with comics yet. It's not available. So once you take that human factor
and I've seen
out,
Tag's
it's
competitor
important.
now is trying to get him on. If you watch Instagram or TikTok, there's a competitor, AGS, which I haven't heard of or seen any of their work yet, but I see a guy complaining about Tag all the time and goes, "That's why I go to AGS." But I haven't seen anything graded from them.
Yeah.
Is it AGS or EGS?
AGS. EGS is a guy who kind of a mom pop that does really nice grading, and the book, because you can get it
though. He's gone.
Yeah, somebody tell him to get a touch.
Probably not enough business.
Yeah.
Say that again, Sean. Hold on. Say that again.
Somebody tell that guy to get a hold of me. I need to he needs to talk to me. Speaking of business.
Yeah. Poof. Yeah. That's what I mean.
Anybody talks to that guy, let him know Sean would love to have the conversation with him about grading.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of that, you got anything else before we call it a night, Sean? You got anything you want to tell people about that's coming up with Comics Elite?
No, great. Thanks for showing all those books, man, and the website. Appreciate it. Working hard to make some cool books over there, and have some PDFs up pretty soon to be able to put guys like to read stuff digitally. Go for it. I'll have some stuff up there for you guys to buy from the website, and look forward to doing some cool streams from we are doing a big Invincible eBay stream tomorrow. All of our variants came in, so we're going to have 6 different variants, including one we haven't sold before from Jamie Tyndall. Be really cool. So that'll be on eBay Live. Just go check out Comics Elite. It'll be during the day. So it should be a really fun show. We're just cranking up on eBay Live, and we're liking the format. We're liking the platform. Just got to tell people we're there now so they know to come and have some fun, get some great deals.
Yeah.
No, we sold out of our Invincible blanks. Doing these claim pre-shows before we're sold out of most of our stuff before Wednesday even hits, which is pretty crazy.
Comics Elite on eBay Live, you guys.
It's funny, we get our new books in on Friday, and we're like, "Oh, these are last week's books." Oh wait, I mean these are 2 days ago's books.
Yeah, I didn't. Lunar came late for Lunar and Universal came late this week. I didn't get them Thursday. I didn't get them till today.
Ours came last week late. I didn't get them till Monday. So, but we usually get them. We're 2 hours away from Lunar. Like,
Yeah.
if we can tell when that label is created, if we're going to get them on time. It's usually always created late, early Thursday, and then they pick it up Friday. We get it same day usually. Knock on wood.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Again, thank you so much.
Big
3
clutch.
hours, great show. Episode 105 of the Industry Show. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. Before we go, there's one last thing I want to say. Tomorrow night is going to be a big night for Beyond Wednesdays and Beyond Wednesdays live viewers. We're going to be dropping We're going to be dropping a link for 2 really crazy books that I've shared the first one a couple of times. Let me go ahead and show you guys this. So this is going to be available. I think we're going to put up like I think 100 sets are going to be available for pre-sale. This is the Edo Thundercats book that we're going to have available. This is the
that's a score,
good.
man. That
Yeah.
is such a score.
So
I saw the cover. I was like, damn.
this is, if you guys remember, I've been talking about the Beyond Wednesdays curated program over at Dynamite and Dynamic Forces that we've been working on. This is the first offering from that program, and it is Thundercats number 24 by Edo. There is the Virgin and the Trade that we're going to be doing sets. It's going to be like, I think $35 a set. So if you guys like this book and you're not going to be able to be on any of the live sales from MegaCon, come hang out and on the show tomorrow night and get a set. $35 a set, which is very affordable and a killer book. And then we're going to, special...
Dude, you should have got credit on the back.
Well, they just didn't have time to do it, so
Okay.
that's, it'll change. But also, we're gonna have spot foils, a few spot foils and a few medals available from live sales from the con. So I'll give you guys more information about that. But if you just want a regular set of the Trade and the Virgin, come hang out with us tomorrow night. We'll put up 100 sets for a limited time for live viewers. And then we're going to have the creative team from Estuary going to be hanging out with us for a little bit tomorrow night. And we're offering a fucking beautiful Suspiria cover. Let me show you guys this. This is the limited to 500 Suspiria Estuary cover. Absolutely amazing. She killed it. The guys over at Estuary killed this design, like it's meant to look like an old movie poster, and man,
yeah,
fucking beautiful. So
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, this will be available tomorrow night as well. So 2 major variants, both super limited. The only 450 printed of the Trade and 450 printed of the 450 printed of the Trade and 450 printed of the Virgin. We'll only have 100 available, 100 of each available tomorrow night. And then 500 print run on the Estuary will be available tomorrow night. So Wednesday night review, come hang out with us live in the chat. And then, Sean, Emmett, Dennis, Jesse, everybody out there watching, thanks for hanging out tonight. We'll see you next time. Adios.